Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the amazing. We haven't actually got a title for this, but it's something like the amazing Chainsaw Man read through, where I'm reading through Chainsaw Man for the first time, and I'm joined by Kyle Entertainment.
You ruined it. You ruined it with Black Sails. You ruined it with everything because you never put great in the title of our Black Sails reread, so you
True.
can't do it. Well, rewatch. You don't read Black Sails unless you read that book thingy that we didn't end up doing.
True. I
But
forgot about
yes,
that.
so it's just going to be like Chainsaw Man watch through / reread or something because EliteAri has boring titles. If you want the great titles, you got to go over to my second channel. Nonetheless, we're here to talk about Chainsaw Man. But I promised EliteAri uninterrupted speaking time at the beginning before we get it too deep into anything.
Yes.
So we're going to give him that now.
So, we are covering Season 1 of the anime, which covers chapters 1 to 38 of the manga. But chapter 38 of the manga, which is what we're also going to be talking about it, has one extra scene that is not in the anime. So we will talk about that, but we'll probably give a spoiler warning when we do, and it'll probably be toward the end of the video, so that's a warning. But yeah, I guess that's it. So in terms of like my history, I haven't like I heard about Chainsaw Man like maybe I don't know 2 years ago or something. Whenever it became popular, I think even maybe when it
His
got
favorite streamer talks about it all the time, you know?
well, yeah, but I think I
That's how
heard
they
about
do.
it before you even. I think when the anime got announced, or maybe like a bit before that, everyone was like, "Oh, Chainsaw Man's gonna be the next big thing. It's gonna be the next Attack on Titan or whatever." But
That's a Mother's Basement video.
or maybe that's where I heard of it. Honestly,
No, I
yeah,
think he made a video that was. Now I know we said uninterrupted speaking time.
yeah,
But he made a video called like these could be the next Attack on Titans or something, and he listed a bunch of ones. That's actually how I think I
yeah.
learned about Chainsaw Man for the first time
I
too,
vaguely remember that.
because it was very early into its run, um,
Yeah.
in like 2019 or something. Crazy stuff, but yes. I can't remember
Yes.
the other anime he listed, or manga rather, he listed in that. But anyway, yes, Chainsaw Man, very popular,
Very
even as
popular.
a
I heard
manga.
about it, but I decided I'm not gonna read the manga. I'm just gonna wait for this anime, and I did.
And I
I
screamed at him for doing it months and months
Indeed, he
ago.
did. He told me I was a fool and an idiot and all these
The
terrible
most
words.
manga, I believe I used to say, and he's gonna
Yeah.
wait for the motion cartoon.
Yep. So I watched the motion cartoon, the good old anime, 12 episodes, um, and then I waited like a week or whatever for Kyle to be free, and then I finally read the manga. So
No, we waited for the new year, remember?
oh
Because
yeah,
I had a
true.
rule that I wasn't starting anything until
Yeah,
2023.
Kyle wants it counted on his like list of stuff he watches this year, so we have to wait. But here we are. And that's my background. Or what about you, Kyle? What's your history here?
Well, I interrupted you before you could say that then you started reading the manga, and now after you watch the anime, you
Yes,
have read the first 38 chapters, which
indeed.
is what the anime covers, except for the last 2 pages, which is a little bit of a bonus scene that, spoiler alert, is continued in the next chapter
Yeah.
at the very beginning. So, how would you know? Yep, Ari, you
Oh, I
didn't
would
read that
assume. I don't.
yet.
Yeah, true. You know, it could all just be a
Maybe it
dream.
cut to something else at the beginning of the next chapter. You never know.
True.
Some ominous things happening at the very end. Um, but yes, this is EliteAri's history, boring history. He failed the test.
Mm.
Embarrassing. We'll get into all of that as we progress. I think I started reading Chainsaw Man. Now, what a history this is. I was watching a little channel called Content with which was B and Best Guy Ever, B the former Digibro. They were making unscripted videos about currently airing anime / manga and some older stuff too. And they came out with Chainsaw Man. Now I had heard rough things about Chainsaw Man in the community as I do. And so I didn't actually read Chainsaw Man. I watched like their first 3 videos, which covered up until like chapter 70 or something,
Mm.
and completely spoiled myself by listening to them talk about it rather than reading it myself. And then, so I was completely spoiled on basically the whole manga before reading it, because that's what I do.
Wow.
Now, also, there is a certain part they talked about in 7. It's
Hmm?
the Monsters Inc. stuff. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's vague enough for EliteAri to not
Yep.
understand
No
yet,
idea.
and for the audience to go, "I know exactly what you're talking about. My God, greatest moment of manga history." And I was like, "Man, I got to read this shit." So before they got out their next part, I'm pretty sure I read the whole manga, um, and it had just finished before I started reading it. So I got to read it all unmolested. That's a hell of a term.
Mm.
And I remember I finished it in the very beginning of January of 2021 because it finished at the end of 2020. Um, I remember something else I did that day that we won't go into. Nonetheless, how vague and mysterious I am. But yeah, so I basically, what a weird way to ingest a manga is to have
Yeah.
it spoiled for you nearly the whole way, then go and read it yourself, then read the ending, and then I don't know, it lived in my brain for a little while. I forgot a lot of things. Eventually, Miller, uh, friend of the program here, I guess you could say, uh, he was reading it for the first time a few months ago, maybe more than a few months ago. And as he was trying to talk to me about it, I was like, I don't remember half of this shit.
Mm.
So I had to reread Chainsaw Man at some point. And then this dumb motion cartoon was coming out, and Ari was watching it despite my protests. And so obviously he wanted to continue the manga after where the anime leaves off. So we're like, okay, this is perfect. It can be our next reread slash watch through series, and it's pretty short, so it won't take that long. The stars aligned, and here we are. I started watching the anime late. It had already all finished when I started watching it, and I only started watching it at sometime at the beginning of this year. I watched 5 episodes today. Can you believe that shit? I haven't watched 5 episodes of anime in a day in 20 years. And instead, for EliteAri, so we could record, I watched 5 of them today. So that's my Chainsaw Man history anime manga version. That was
All
pretty
right.
succinct, huh?
Yeah, well done. But we, before talking about this, we kind of know what each of us think about the overall like story, I guess, or not overall story, but we've talked a little bit before this conversation we're recording here.
Because usually, especially with Black Sails, we had a rule where we weren't allowed to say anything to each other because it makes it more exciting. And if you go back and you watch the beginning of those videos, it's a lot of like release tension of like, remember Eleanor's grandmother? And then Ari would say no, and then it was finally season 4, and I screamed at him at the very beginning about Eleanor's grandmother, and he actually knew this time. An incredible thing. But I had a stream where right after I started the anime complaining about it, and Ari was in chat. And then we talked about it a little after Discord, because the resulting structure of this video comes from that, because there's some harsh disagreements. This will be the last Kyle and Ari thingy ever, because we're gonna have a fight right now.
Very true. So Kyle.
So yeah,
you need to explain what the appeal of Chainsaw Man is to you. What do you like about Chainsaw Man?
Now, I don't know how much EliteAri knows about this, but if you have been watching, which maybe some of you have, I assume actually, at least half of you were probably Chainsaw Man fans, and you were watching the chapter-by-chapter reviews I was doing of Part 2 recently, and a big meme fixture of those reviews is me talking about the meme video that I had to make eventually called The Appeal of Chainsaw Man, and how it's this undescribable thing. But now is the time to describe it. Now, I probably should have taken notes on this, but I actually think I sort of have a collection of things. They're just unorganized. Imagine that. So, this is our big disagreement, but we're going to take turns, and I'm going to go first. Now, the appeal of Chainsaw Man to me is, first of all, that it is very funny. It is almost first and foremost a comedy series, a subversive... what word am I looking for? A subversive story, built on jokes, and actually, to move back a little bit, in those chapter review streams, I used to always say it had a B-movie appeal, and the joke would always be that I'd never actually seen a B-movie, so who knows if this was even true. Now, this might come from that Mother's Basement video, and because I think he might say something like that in that video, that Chainsaw Man has this sort of B-movie appeal. And what I understand B-movie appeal to be is sort of that it comes off as sort of like cheap, and it's sort of a response to sort of the A movies or whatever, the certain tropes and big budget things of the time. It's sort of a commentary on that while telling its own story, and also its approach to depth is such that usually it's very like sarcastic and not self-serious, sort of like Denji, but in the end it comes to some sort of deep revelation in its unseriousness type way. The thing that sucks is that all the good examples, or like the home run examples for Chainsaw Man for this, have not happened yet for EliteAri. But there was actually something. This is all over the place in terrible explanation. There's something because I rewatched the first 2 episodes of content talking about Chainsaw Man. Now, they actually talked about chapters 1 through 40 in the first 2 parts. So 2 chapters ahead of where we are. And B had a great point that I remembered that I'd forgotten and then remembered when I'd rewatched it. That I think sort of encapsulates sort of the tone or the humor of Chainsaw Man when she said that everything in Chainsaw Man is funny, but nothing is a joke. And I thought that was a really clever way of putting it because let's just take the quintessential sort of first thing Chainsaw Man was ever really famous for was the I want to touch boobs panel. I remember that was one of the first things that really went viral for Chainsaw Man was the fact that their main character was so subversive. Unlike Luffy, who wants to become Pirate King, and Naruto, who wants to become the Hokage, Denji just wants to touch boobs, and that's his end of series goal. Now, obviously, he does that in like the first 10 chapters, but that sort of continuous theme of him not having this grand goal is definitely a thing throughout most of Chainsaw Man, especially the parts we read here. The thing is that it is funny. It's almost hilarious. It is hilarious. But it's not a joke. Like, it's serious. Like, everybody has, well, I guess if you're a straight male viewer, which we're probably assuming is the target demographic of Chainsaw Man, you probably actually want to touch boobs IRL. It is a relatable goal. And it was also something especially a 16-year-old would be very fascinated about, one who has never touched boobs before. So it's like wrapped in, and it is funny, but it's sort of funny, and it's more of that B-movie thing of like in a real professional story, this would never be the goal, and this would be seen as crass or something. But in the crassness here, it sort of hits on sort of a deep, innate human emotion or lust, poignant word, for something, and that's sort of the B-movie appeal of Lamal, silly boob touching, but actually, that is what everybody wants. And sort of having sort of that deep commentary through a sort of silly, something that wouldn't be taken seriously, that we would pretend wouldn't be taken seriously. I need a better word than in professional productions or something, in things that are actually trying to be deep. And it's sort of reaching that sort of depth without trying. It's also a great, like, shield against being called pretentious, because I don't think anybody could ever call Chainsaw Man pretentious, because people would just say, no, it's silly and it likes to touch boobs. How could it be pretentious? There's actually, in like the second, how do I say that? In chapter 40, there is a moment that I think is kind of pretentious in Chainsaw Man. So in the second chapter that we will read after this, that we will have to talk about next time, that was all over the place.
Yeah,
it's funny, it's fast,
yeah,
it's unseriously serious, undeeply deep, unpretentiously pretentious. It's almost in the contradiction it innately appeals. Because isn't everybody a contradiction, EliteAri? Kind of like that whole segment, huh?
Yes. I'm trying to. Maybe we'll talk about this when we get to the anime. So you're saying, we'll talk about it when we get to the anime.
I think you should go first, and then give me your questions.
Okay. What do I find appealing about Chainsaw Man? And I have a few things listed. I have actual notes here. Crazy. The first and most important thing is that the characters feel very relatable. That's the biggest thing. And I guess the reason that that's a good thing is the fact that when the characters are relatable, it feels like I can get invested in their struggles because I can like insert myself into them, right? And to me, I think the biggest example comes from the anime, which is in the 12th ending, like right at the end of the anime, where it's just Aki, Power, and Denji, and they're just like walking around, like eating food, sleeping. Like it's just the most relatable thing ever. And I love that about Chainsaw Man. Like for me, that's just throughout all the manga, all the anime, just everything just feels very relatable. And I'm sure we'll talk about that when we go through the story. It's like a bunch of examples. But that's the key thing for me, relatability. But there's also, it has like, I think I kind of agree with what you said about how when it comes to the comedy, it can be funny, but it's not like written funny, I guess. Like it's like the thing I've got here is that there's no artificial levity is the way I've put it, where to me, it seems like in a lot of anime, you'll have like jokes, I guess, that are placed inside the actual writing. And to me, when it comes to Chainsaw Man, it doesn't seem like there's anything like that, which is pretty much, I think, what you were saying before about like from that video you watched, and they said made a point like that. Where I don't know, to me it seems like you'll have a lot of anime, and the reason I say it's like no artificial levity is the fact that you get a lot of anime that have darker things happening, and they'll feel the need to insert a joke to kind of create levity. Whereas in Chainsaw Man, at least the stuff I've read so far, that doesn't seem to be the case at all. Where it's not afraid to just have things happen and not have to insert any comedy just for the sake of it. And I think that's another thing I really like about it and seems very unique. Like even like the closest thing I could compare it to in that regard is maybe Attack on Titan, but even Attack on Titan has moments of what seem to me at least like contrived, like they force jokes in there a bit where I'm like, I don't really need this here. I'd rather it just like the characters exist as they are and you don't need to kind of take them out.
Annie eating pie, Ari? You want
not even, yeah, I guess, yeah, kind of stuff like that where I'm like, I don't know about this. So those are the first two things. Characters relatable, no artificial levity. The rest are kind of superficial. Like there's cool mysteries I like. I always love mysteries and things, and there's some really interesting mysteries, at least in this section of the story so far. Everyone looks very stylish, which is very I don't even know if it's the characters or just the art style that looks very good, but I don't know, everyone's wearing suits and stuff, and it's fun to see them like that. And the final thing that appeals to me about Chainsaw Man is that everyone else thinks it's very good. Like, I've never seen anyone say, besides the anime, I've never seen anyone say, Chainsaw Man, the manga is bad, or like it's boring or something. And to me, whenever I see people say something's good, I tend to always like it as well, because I'm like, if they like it, there has to be a reason that it's good. So yeah, that's my appeal of Chainsaw Man. But anything else?
I did write some things down as you went. First of all, I love mysteries too. I would watch a terrible show that has a funny mystery in the middle.
Absolutely.
I feel like this, because you talked about them being relatable, which it does tie into something I said, but it's almost to the point where they're so unrelatable that it comes back to being relatable. Because like there are many moments where Denji is sort of made like particularly unrelatable. Like I think the whole first chapter is sort of unrelatable, where he has such a miserable life. But the thing that endears you to him is the fact that he's still kind of like happy and jovial about it. And it sort of makes him seem like the ultimate badass and be like, yeah, he's not one of these fucking whiners. I love Denji. But in that sense, it's like you would be miserable and depressed and not like Denji at all if you were actually in this situation. So it wouldn't be relatable. I just had another example. When everybody's dying and he doesn't feel sad at all is also another Denji moment. Where it's almost like he's not relatable, but you sort of he sort of gets to a relatability through a fucked up means.
Well, okay, in like that particular example is something I've got like some notes on, but to me, the relatability in that scene particularly is at the end where he's like, I just don't, what's the point of thinking about this? He just like puts it aside. Yes. That's the relatability there, where I don't see that in anything else. Like they'd always focus on like, what's inside the character's head, and for him, it's just like, it doesn't matter. I don't know.
There is, because I guess something neither of us talked about that's kind of important, is that Chainsaw Man is so unique in such a weird way. Would you agree with that? That it's not like all the other girls?
I don't know. Like that's a thing where I've heard people say that, and I know that's like a thing to say, but I don't understand like what you're comparing it to. Like to me, everything I watch is kind of unique. Like I don't really know what isn't unique, you know. So I don't know. I feel like
there's like a generic anime prototype that sort of lives rent-free in I guess a lot of people's minds, and it's sort of like Chainsaw Man, because there are a lot of moments where Chainsaw Man is clearly, or at least clearly to me, doing like the subversive thing of like, well, we're particularly not doing what a normal anime would do here, like the boobs thing being a goal. Because in a shonen, I don't think I could ever see touching boobs being the main goal. But maybe in like a comedy or something, it could be like a rom-com ecchi series, it could be. But in that would be the joke. Whereas again, here it's not really a joke. It's just sort of funny. There's like the top example that comes to my mind that I don't even think it's the best example is the Oh fuck. Oh, the training stuff. When they train, because obviously, Lamau, we're gonna get a shonen training sequence. This is the worst. I hate it when this happens. This is the worst part of every show.
Mm.
But it's actually like 2 scenes of them fighting. Oh, I always forget Kishibe's name, but I remembered it as I continued that sentence.
Yep.
Um, but instead, it just sort of like happens off screen, and he sort of just says the thing that's like so obvious at the beginning. He's like, "I'm the strongest, so if you get stronger than me, you'll be the strongest." And it's sort of like well, obviously, if Naruto had started training with the strongest dude instead of working his way up to a stronger sensei every like 2 arcs, then he would have skipped all those steps and just won everything way earlier. So to me, it's sort of like a commentary on that as well, of like, no, we just went straight to the strongest dude to get to train them at the beginning. So it's sort of like a funny, like, we're skipping all the steps in the shonen thing to get to the interesting part. And so it's sort of this commentary thing as it's going. And I do view Chainsaw Man like that a lot, where it's sort of a commentary on other stories and sort of making fun of them as it goes. And sort of everything has sort of a double meaning in that sense. Another example is like, and now this one has become more common, especially recently with sort of, in like the last 10, 20 years with the rise of sort of anti-heroes and stuff like that. But when Denji is like confronted by the Katana Devil, who's obviously fucking with him, but is like, don't you feel bad for all the people you've killed or whatever? And he just says like, nope. And he just does it in a sort of Denji way. And it's sort of like, I've seen a million shows where the hero in that moment does have an internal crisis that lasts an episode. There's that filler episode 24 of Attack on Titan, where Eren sort of has this internal conflict about fighting Annie. There's got to be a million examples in Naruto, and it's sort of like, oh, we're making fun of that episode now, because that's in a million things. There are other examples like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it definitely has that sort of, has that, I think it's actually what metatext means, where it's sort of commenting on things, whereas the way we usually use metatext is different. But yeah.
So
this was a bigger point.
I mean, in response to that, I would say that I didn't get any of that at all when I was reading.
Yeah.
Like when I'm seeing the Kishibe training scene or whatever, like in there fighting with the strongest guy, I just don't relate that to anything that I've seen. Like it doesn't. I don't see that, and I'm like, oh, they're making fun of the scene where you get like this thing in another anime, but like it just doesn't happen. I don't know.
The important thing is that every single element like this has to work on both levels. Like that subtext could be there, but it also works on just the surface level, where everything in the story still works, even if you don't get the joke or whatever. If the joke even is being made, which goes into intense stuff, and then I would just say, well, I can read into it whatever I want. Fuck you. Yeah. But this also comes back to the comedy angle, where it's sort of like, there's something unique about how it does its comedy, where it's so cutting to the point where, I don't know, it just knows what being funny is. There's like a David Chase show, a quote that Matthew Weiner says a lot. David Chase made Sopranos. Matthew Weiner worked under him on The Sopranos, then made Mad Men. You're following EliteAri, you're following the little tree here we've painted. The quote is sort of, don't write jokes, just make the situation funny. Which is also something Chainsaw Man sort of, it's another way of saying the B point about everything's funny but nothing's a joke. Whereas in The Sopranos and in Mad Men, these characters will constantly find themselves in very wacky situations. And there really never is a punchline that's like obvious to the characters. It's just sort of a dramatic irony moment of somebody just said something insanely stupid and the characters didn't even notice it, and they sort of just nodded in agreement. And like the audience is left to get the joke. But you almost could miss the joke too. Like there's a joke, and I was recently watching a reaction to this episode to Pine Barrens, but there's a joke where Chris, who's a character in The Sopranos, says, like, they're talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis or something. And Chris says, that shit was real? I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit. Where he's sort of like, he had watched it because he's into movies and that's like his little character quirk. But he thought the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is this very famous historical event where everybody on the planet nearly died to nuclear war, and he thought it was just a dumb movie plot. And sort of that's the joke. Like the dude he's talking to doesn't go, you've never heard of the Cuban Missile Crisis or whatever. He just sort of walks through the door and that's the end of the scene. And it's sort of like the situation is the funny thing, not like the punchline of chastising Chris for being stupid. It's left on the audience. But if the audience member was stupid and didn't know what the Cuban Missile Crisis was, then they wouldn't get it. So it's sort of like it's a subtlety thing as well, where it's sort of like not holding your hand to get the joke. You just sort of have to get it. Which is, I think that's not how the jokes are written in Chainsaw Man, but I do think that's how the like subtextual commentary on other stories and sort of the making fun of it thing is. How many shonen have you seen, EliteAri? You've never seen Naruto. You've
Not
never
that
seen
many.
One Piece.
I would say
Yeah,
I've
you've
seen
seen
what?
Hunter x Hunter,
Yeah,
which
Dragon Ball
everybody
Z,
says
Hunter x Hunter.
is the subversive one. So
Maybe that is the
yeah,
problem, that I just haven't seen shonen, so I can't compare it to anything.
yeah,
It's possible.
maybe. I think Miller has seen more shonen than both of us, and if he showed up here, he would say that none of this exists either. But he's also an idiot.
No, Miller's a genius.
But I think those two examples I did steal from the content stuff too. The training example. No, I think I came up with the fucking because I've got such a big brain. The elevator example, but there are a million examples like that, and the problem is I would just have to go through it. Now I think if I ever do make a video about the anime being bad and the appeal of Chainsaw Man, I think I would literally go through like and sort of compare them shot by shot and sort of talk about how certain things are missed. So we could eventually get this point out in a better manner. I think there's another thing to talk about that's kind of a switch in subject, but this is a rhetorical question, Ari, but I do want you to give an answer after I do a monologue. But how do you tell if something's good? And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I was actually thinking about this with the Last of Us scenes we had watched on stream yesterday, and a little bit before that, where there's and I was actually thinking about this when I was rewatching Black Sail, so it ties back into our mutual collaborations here. It's sort of, I've realized that there's sort of a flow to things, and that's how I consider them good or not. And I remember in those Max scenes where I would be like, oh, and even because that's a rewatch, I'm sort of anticipating the scenes coming forward, and I'm just like riding the flow of the scenes, and I'm sort of like, and it hits, and then it hits, and then it hits. I remember I did my hour and a half on fucking Max, where you just had to sit there and listen to me in that last part, where I was talking about in the one monologue on the boat to Jack, and she's like, it's like the rule of three continuously, like the governor is sitting in my fucking chair or whatever, that's the end of it. And I remember that's sort of the thing I think of when I think of this point, of sort of like the flow when it hits on it. Chainsaw Man impeccably rides the flow, almost like flawlessly, to the point where I'm like, this Fujimoto prick, either me and Fujimoto are on the same wavelength perfectly, or I'm just imagining all of this, or this is just sort of tapping into objective goodness, EliteAri. And Chainsaw Man is the only objective good thing.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Now it's interesting. Yes, obviously. Because I was also thinking about this in relation to Minty. We're bringing up all of our orbiters here. Because I feel like me and Minty are usually on the same wavelength of sort of what he thinks is cringe, I think is cringe. I feel like I brought up on stream recently the Vaymond example from the beginning of episode 8 of House of the Dragon, where I was like, I also thought Vaymond's acting in that scene was cringe. But then I remember specifically bringing it up to Mr. EliteAri, and you going like, no, whatever, it was fine, just like everything else. Yep. So it's just like completely imagined is sort of the point I'm getting at. This flow, and for whatever reason, I assume it's just subjective resonation, where some things you're riding the flow, and some things you're not. But even that doesn't make sense, because we both like Chainsaw Man. But it seems to be for very obvious reasons. Does this flow thing resonate with you at all, or am I saying a bunch of gibberish?
I'm not really sure what you mean by flow, which is probably what I was going to ask. Like, I know the Black Sails example you're saying about the dialogue being like, I honestly don't even know. What's it? Do you have any examples?
Well, the flow thing, I'm thinking we're on a surfboard here, and there's a wave, and we're riding the wave.
What is the wave in this case?
The wave is Chainsaw Man, and the person riding it is the experience. And the wave is guiding you in a place, but it's also the exact place you want to go, and you can feel it as you're going. I feel like it's just...
Does every anime have a wave like this?
No, only the great stuff has the wave. and very often, even in a lot of the things I love a lot, you'll sort of the wave will fuck up a little bit. Chainsaw Man fucks up in chapter 40.
Wait, so are
So
you
far, it's perfect.
are you just saying that something like you like Chainsaw Man, like it's good, and it just doesn't have any like bad parts, like it's just good? Is that what you're trying to say with the
Chapter
flow?
40,
Like you don't have any
bad.
besides chapter 40 or whatever, you don't have anything that takes you out of it. You're like it's staying there consistently. I can ride this wave
It's
until the
actually,
end.
I think it might be a reread thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because we've already done the wave before, so I can guide to where the wave is going. Because I remember thinking the Eternity Devil stuff sucked, and the Katana Man stuff dragged on for too long. And this time I went through reading it, and I was like, nah, the Eternity Devil shit went by in a breeze. It wasn't long at all. And
Yeah.
same with the Katana Devil stuff. That wasn't boring at all. Now, Miller is also on the same wave because I remember he nearly dropped Chainsaw Man in the Eternity Devil stuff because he thought it was so boring. And then I even brought this up to him, and I don't remember if it was in a DM or it might have been in the Chainsaw Man spoilers thing, so you didn't see it, or maybe you did see it.
No.
There's no way you saw it. It must have been in the spoilers section. Where we were talking about, he was like, yeah, but there was like 3 flashbacks with Himeno in like 3 chapters in the Eternity Devil stuff, and it was like too much. And I remember 1,000,000% absolutely having that exact same thought and reaction the first time through, but this time thinking that it was great. Now, I don't know, there's just something, like there's a general experience, I think, that most people have with things. And Chainsaw Man is sort of aware of this. I think this
I don't
might
know.
tie everything back
I don't
in,
know about that. All right, go ahead.
is where it's like he's sort of, if we take the sort of parody subtext of commenting on other things, is like he's so hyper aware of how these structures usually go.
Wait, who's he?
That
Are
he
you
knows
talking
how
about
to write
Denji?
it. Now we're talking
Oh, the
about
author.
Fujimoto. When I
Okay,
say
yeah.
Chainsaw Man, I'm also saying that, but I don't like to say the author, remember? But yeah, there's something about how Chainsaw Man is constructed to perfectly sort of tap into the zeitgeist, I think.
Wait, so
And there's something around that.
so you're saying the author intent is important here, right? Like if he's not intending that, you're saying it's not the case,
Then
right?
it wouldn't change anything at all.
Well, how does that
But
make
I
sense?
think that might be the
Wait,
reason why it's like that. But I'm still trying to come up with it.
are you just trying to avoid saying
Now,
that you
author
think?
intent
Yeah.
could matter, but it's just like I choose whether or not it matters. Is sort of the general point to
Yeah.
our subjectivity debate, but we can sort of put that in a corner. I think you need to jump in EliteAri and tell me to shut up and move into a direction.
I think
Because
we
I
should
feel
talk
like
about
we're
the
just
anime.
rambling.
Right?
And by
'Cause
we, I mean me.
yeah, well, yeah. I
But
want you
yeah.
to just complain about it so I can understand what you hate so much about it. Or if you do, you finished
This
it
is so
now.
much simpler.
Now that
Yes,
now that
let's
you
do it.
finished it, do you still? What do you think overall of the anime?
I think it was better when the plot picked up more because there was less things to fuck up. I think the Chainsaw Man, I think episode 2 and 3 fail at being funny and don't even try. I think a lot of things that are sort of funny in that dramatic irony sense I kind of just talked about, the anime doesn't try to play as funny. And now we're talking about a tent again. I also
Yeah.
think it's too slow.
Goodness. All right. Yeah.
Those are probably my main points. I really do think a part of the like Chainsaw Man's appeal is that it's hyper fast. I really can't get into examples of that because the biggest
Yeah.
examples
Yeah.
I have are later. Though it is evident early on, it's just to imply it would be a spoiler by implication.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man is super fast, and maybe it's just because I binge read it all in like a week, but I don't think so. I think part of that is because it's so easy to read. I love Attack on Titan basically as much as I like Chainsaw Man, probably more, but I can't read more than like 2 or 3 Attack on Titan chapters in a row.
Well, they're massive.
I would get like bored. And it's just, it doesn't have the same pace or the same tone where Chainsaw Man leads into just like uh, quick readings much better, I think.
So you don't like the tone of the anime and you don't like the pace of the anime. Those are your 2 complaints. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think it's funny enough, and I don't think it's fast enough. If we were to sum up my complaints so immediately, I think it's a little tonally off. I actually think the anime looks pretty good. I didn't know in the first few episodes, but especially later on, and as I adjusted to the art style and stuff, I did like it a lot. I like all the EDs. Actually, that's not true. I like 3 through 7, and then the last ones, I didn't really care for at all. Uh,
Hmm.
the last EDs that they
Fair
are.
enough.
Initially, I was very like the OP isn't cool enough to be Chainsaw Man, but it grew on me. Um, the song was a little too generic, Jap pop. Uh, I think I should have said J pop instead of Jap pop. I think Jap pot. Jap is just a bad word. That's racist, EliteAri.
Oh
Can't
no.
believe you let me say that. J pop. Um, yeah.
But now
Well,
you like
I'm
it.
trying
So
to
why,
think.
I don't know why you're complaining about it. You like it now, right?
I gave it like a yes. The ad. There is that, and because you aren't allowed to watch it because it is a preview for Volume 9 and we're only in like Volume 4, so it does have spoiler images in it.
Hmm.
But there is that Volume 9 volume ad with the song. I'm sure you've heard the song at least.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
If you heard it, you'd be like, yeah, I've heard this on your stream like
Okay.
15 times. And it so perfectly encapsulates everything that is Chainsaw Man, and it does it better than the anime. And it's just sort of moving manga panels in a song.
Well, isn't that always the
There were a
case?
lot of
Don't you think that's the
um
case with some of the Attack on Titan stuff as well? Have you ever seen those?
like the moving manga panel
Yeah,
stuff or
anything
the
like
ads
that.
or something. Yeah, probably. But it's like because it's also colored and there's like a lot of editing and stuff in it where it's like this sort of gets like the breakneck pace and the whack and it's such a unique type of like music or whatever. I just feel like it's like yes, they get it here. Whereas the anime it's sort of like I don't think anything in the anime is anybody's fault. I feel like it's just the restraints they had to do because they wanted to end it at a certain point. They only wanted to adapt a little bit so they could stretch more seasons out of it. And sort of it was placed in somebody's lap that, like, well, you have to put these chapters into these episodes. And because of that, we need it to be pretty slow at the beginning. And then we need some filler scenes here and there. And so they sort of couldn't have done anything, I don't think. You can't have that breakneck pace, I don't think, in sort of the anime the way it was designed to be. Um, I actually rated it on Mal. I gave it a 6, so uh, it was okay. Like all the episodes I watched today, I felt were pretty okay, and there wasn't anything like too traumatically bad. Um,
Okay, so
episodes 2 and 3 I didn't like. But yeah,
I want
jump
to
in.
understand. Are you? So you don't? You're saying you don't like it as an adaptation, right?
No, I would never. I would kill somebody if they said they were going to watch it before they read it.
But what
So
do you
watch
think
out
of
about
it as just an anime on its own?
That's such a hard question though. Even
If you're saying
I
it's so
like some of
different,
the
then why can't you
shot
just see it
even.
as like something else? Yeah.
Well, it's not so different. It's barely different, but the little things are like so big in implication to
So
sort
then
of
it
like
is
the
different, right?
tone and stuff.
You're
But
saying it's a
it's
big
not.
difference, but it's not. What do
It's
you
the
mean?
same story. If I had if I had a conversation with somebody that had seen the anime and we didn't reveal that they had never read the manga, I think it would be like we would have identical conversations. Uh, Not identical conversations, but we probably couldn't even tell. Um, I couldn't tell that they had only seen the anime because there aren't like big changes. It's not like Vinland Saga season 2, episode
Yeah.
1, where we've got a whole fucking eye and a backstory at the beginning. There are very few filler scenes, and the ones that are, and Miller sort of was making fun of it, but I kind of like it for this, are kind of like pointless scenes where it's just sort of somebody's routine or something, and I like those scenes.
Hmm.
They do change the context of the scene, like Himeno going to take a shower before she jumps on Denji, sort of makes it seem like she was
Yeah, the best scene
planning
in the
stuff or
anime.
something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so she is just a pedophile and not a drunk.
Yeah.
That's weird. So I didn't. So in that sense, like I liked it by itself, but in the context of the show, it's not that good. But it is so minutely different in a bunch of little ways that I guess it ends up being a big difference. But then it's just like, oh, there's a bunch of little fuck ups to. The problem is it's just whatever you watch first, and I feel like
No,
that's what
not
we're
at
going to
all.
come back to.
No,
I think it
I hardly
always is.
disagree.
I think
Give me
it's just
some
like
examples then. What are some things where
I feel like
yeah.
it's just like, well, I
Like
love
Attack on
something,
Titan?
and then I'm going to see little differences, and I'm going to notice all the little differences, and I'm going to think, well, if somebody only watched this, they would have a different perception of this because of this little difference, and that pisses me off. And I actually was thinking about this, and I think it comes back to the fact that you will have to interact with people that will have these little differences, and it will piss you off in the future. In a completely isolated world where it's just you, and a machine pops out the anime, then like whatever, nobody's going, like, I've seen them both, so it doesn't matter to me. But we don't live in that world, and we live in a world with other people. Can you believe that?
True.
And you have to deal with them sometimes. But jump in then. What do you? Because you were going to disagree with the.
Well,
it's what
maybe
you see
maybe I'm
first.
misunderstanding you. So you're saying I honestly don't even know what you're saying. So you're saying that the first version of something you watch will set the tone and the pace and all that, and anything else you see will just not,
Well,
like, I don't
specifically
understand.
in the realm of adaptation, it's sort of like, well, and it's because it's not different enough. Like, I like the Berserk movies, which cut a
Yeah.
bunch of shit out, but have a bunch of little additional things. Some of the additional things are stupid that I still love, like Farnese showing up and being way too old to when she should be way younger. If we're trying to say that Farnese is around, I still like that she was there. That's cute. Whatever. It's a little fan service moment. Devilman Crybaby is another one where it's so different. They're like, I like that these two things exist. It feels like a different version of a story. Whereas I feel like the anime is trying to sort of be a replacement for the manga in the way most
So
animes try
okay.
to be.
I very
At
much
least
disagree with that. Like, I in my opinion, the anime is like, it is someone's interpretation of the story that just differs from yours a lot, right? Like, I feel like I can see someone's clear vision in this, like in the choices they've made, like to make it more live action, to make it more like
that's
slow
separate from
pace.
the manga.
Well, I feel like this person who made this anime, the director, for instance, they read the manga and they got a certain thing from it, and they're trying to make that into an anime. And I think what they got from the manga is different from what you got from the manga. So, like, in my opinion, they've just made their own adaptation, which is like notably different. And I like that. Like, to me, it means that they are two different stories. Like, when I watch the anime, I can enjoy it for the choices it made that are like adaptation choices that are different from the manga. And when I read the manga, I can enjoy the manga as well. For like, to me, it's different enough. Like, it's not just a direct, like, it doesn't capture everything that I saw from the manga. So it's interesting to see what someone else took from it, and that's what I like as an adaptation. So, like, I don't know.
I feel like the first part of what you said is it has to be true that obviously there will be different interpretations between two people,
Yeah,
and that the director, if you read the
like
manga
you're
and can just get the storyboards done,
the way I'm understanding
then
it is
yeah,
you're attributing all the decisions made for the adaptation to people who are like the higher ups. Like, you're saying they made it slow, they took this tone, they wanted mass appeal, like all that. The way I see it is that there's a director and they've made these choices based on their interpretation of the source material. And I think that's very, like, that's just, it's clear to me that that's what it is. But if you don't see it that way,
I
then I
feel
guess
like
there's no, like, we can't agree.
well, it could be either, and we would have to look at
Yeah.
interviews or whatever or something. But the I feel like I understand the logistic things of planning it just because I've tried to do it before. Like, I remember before Attack on Titan season 4 came out, I tried to map out and I like did a little fan fiction write up of like which episode would cover which thingy
Yep.
or whatever. And I realized that it was like impossible to find to have like a good pace where it was like 1.5 chapters of an episode or whatever and have like a clear end point. And then when the season 4 part 1 anime came out, it was completely different, and they sort of went very fast through the Mali stuff initially, and sort of et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So I guess it sort of comes from like, oh, I tried to do that once, so I kind of understand this struggle, I guess. I've forgotten the point to tie it back in.
Mm.
So instead of that, you're saying that it's all just a stylistic choice. But I feel like, how can you make Chainsaw Man slow? It's like
Well, that's what Chainsaw Man
an
is to
antithesis
someone.
thing.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't
Well,
know.
I don't believe that, I guess. I don't see how that's possible. Of course it is possible, but I'm like, nah,
Mm.
there's no way. You just want to stretch it out to make more seasons, Lamau. And by you, I don't even mean anybody in creative. I mean a businessman somewhere.
Yeah.
But again, uh, how am I to know? Well, I could look up interviews, I guess. But even then, these interviewers, they be lying sometimes. Let's be honest. Yukimura doesn't actually like this anime. There's no way. Actually, I absolutely
Mm.
believe Yukimura loves the anime. George R. R. Martin doesn't love that TV show. All right, I refuse to believe it, but nonetheless,
Yeah. Okay.
where were we up to?
So
We already?
we were up to the place where you made the claim that the first way you watch something is the way that you prefer it. Like, when you see it
I feel like
adapted,
that's
you will always prefer the original.
no, because I was gonna say I feel like that's my experience, but that's not even true. Because I'm sure there is an example of something that I liked more, like the adaptation more or something. Um, I feel like that's definitely the experience I had with Chainsaw Man, though, of like, well,
Yeah,
these are
but no, that
tiny little
wasn't.
changes to
Yeah, but
something I
that
really
wasn't what you
like.
were saying. You were saying that you think that that's always the case.
I feel like I observe that a lot, but even to personalize it to me, I don't think that's always true, even for me. There is an example, I just can't think of it right now,
Yeah,
where there's an adaptation I like more. And Black Lagoon keeps coming into my brain, but I haven't read the manga, so that can't be it.
one day.
Um, One day this year, maybe, maybe with EliteAri, we'll see.
Yep.
Um, but I feel like that's almost like the book is better meme. I feel like a lot of that is born out of that, where it's sort of especially when you're so into something. And I don't even know if I was so into Chainsaw Man, but there are things that stick out to me as sort of like this is a quintessential Chainsaw Man moment.
Mm.
And even slightly changing a bunch of little things leading up to it, or it not landing the same way. Um,
Mm.
Sort of degrades that and instills resentment or something.
Okay, I
Um,
have a. Have you seen Dragon Ball GT?
yes, but
What do you think about
I
Dragon Ball GT compared to Dragon Ball Z?
I've got no fucking
All right, what do you
idea.
think about Dragon Ball Z compared to Dragon Ball?
Even this, I have no idea. I haven't watched any of them in so long. I can say what I remember for the GT thing. I remember thinking the music was different and I didn't like it, and the art style was different and I didn't like it.
Okay.
But I'm a stickler for both those things, and I don't think anybody else is, and I think other people dislike them for very different reasons.
Yep.
Uh, but go through the dialogue path. What did you expect me to say, and what was your
No,
conclusion?
I'm actually I'm trying to tease out like what it is that you like that bothers you about an adaptation. Like the thing I was trying to get to is, for instance, a lot of people, at least like a narrative I've seen, is that they enjoy Dragon Ball for a certain thing, which is like it's an adventure comedy and you've got Goku going around and doing all these fun things. And then you get to Dragon Ball Z and it's like a complete tonal shift and everything's very different and all that. And it's, in that case, it's the same creative voice. Like it's Toriyama in both cases. He's just decided to change things. But it's the same one story. And like I'm trying to think of if you treat Dragon Ball Z, even though it's not, if you treat Dragon Ball Z as like the Chainsaw Man adaptation of the Dragon Ball content, right? Like you've got the Dragon Ball Z in this case is the Chainsaw Man anime, and Dragon Ball in this case is the Chainsaw Man manga. I'm just trying to say that like you can have like one creative voice that is interpreted two different ways, and they can both be valuable. So I don't know. Does that make any sense?
I
Or
guess,
like,
yeah, it does. But I think that the problem is that I don't think they're not different enough in macro ways where it's like, oh, we're trying to go in a different direction. It's just sort of like little things where it doesn't
yeah,
hit in mini character moments. So it's just like, well, you just did it, but you fucked it up trying to do the same thing or something.
yeah,
Because I know you say a lot, and a lot of people say about like the cinematic shots of the Chainsaw Man anime or stuff like that,
yeah.
and how that's sort of different to the manga. Um, but I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head.
Of the shots, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's impossible to come up with
yeah.
shots.
No, I can't even
off the top of
describe
my
them
head.
if I wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well.
I think my thing is just like, well, they're trying to do the same thing. It's just, and even then, there's a lot of things where it is trying to be like a one-to-one, but it just doesn't work because they're fundamentally different mediums, and like having something in a small panel and then translating that to a full shot, even if it's only on screen for like a second, it fundamentally changes how your eye sort of absorbs the image and also the construction of a scene and things like that. And I think I said that on stream like the other day where I was like, well, if you actually wanted to try and get the exact same feel that the manga got, you would have to actually change things literally by like maybe cutting certain shots and stuff like that.
Mm.
Just because of how anime is constructed and how manga is constructed and how they're consumed. Um, but that's a whole different conversation, I guess. So let's backtrack this and
Yes.
let me ask you a question. So I think initially you said in our Discord conversation that you liked the anime better.
Yeah,
Where are
definitely.
you at on this divide?
Yeah, definitely. I think like the things that I pointed out before that I like about Chainsaw Man, the anime just I think it does all of that better. Um that's just really it. I don't know, it's more serious. It's like it doesn't have any artificial levity at all. It's the characters feel relatable. Everyone looks cool, like the stylish thing, like it just looks so good in the anime. I don't know. That's all I would say, really. Like, the anime is just better in every way. Like, in my opinion, the one benefit of the manga to me is the pacing, like you were saying, but maybe that's only because I've already seen the anime, so I know what's gonna happen. So, like, me reading the manga, I'm like, okay, at least I can get through this quickly. Like, I don't know if it'll stay like that, like if I'll enjoy the fast pace when we keep going forward, but
yeah.
There's
because you said seriousness again.
Yep.
And my conclusion earlier was that it was unserious and then it comes to be serious. But when you said serious, I was just like, no, Chainsaw Man's not serious. There's something.
Okay, I don't know if I don't know if I described it well before, but like one of the things I think I mentioned to you before is the fact that the comedy in Chainsaw Man feels like comedy that you have in real life, where you have people just living their lives and things that they do can be funny, but they're not funny. Like what I was thinking is like Power and Denji is I think the example I brought up to you, where they obviously do like, I don't know, quirky and like funny things, quote unquote, in their relationship, especially when they're around Aki. But it's not funny. Like it's not like a joke or anything, and it's not, to me, it's just not funny. It's like when I see them doing that, I'm like, oh yeah, I have people like that in real life, and I can like relate to that, and I don't laugh. I just go, huh, that's neat. Like it just makes me think of the people that I know, you know. So I don't know. Yeah.
I'm ready for another contradiction. I think a lot of it is like meme humor, and that's why I like it. But I hate memes. Especially with the Power and Denji stuff, where it's sort of like when they decide, like when they just put glasses on and decide that they're now like, and then Power has that panel where she's like, it's time for a high IQ maneuver or whatever, and they've got glasses on and they think that makes them smarter, but they actually were smarter in the scene.
True.
So it's sort of that, like we're being stupid, but we are being smart type contradiction type stuff. I think a lot of it, like, that was around the time when people were starting to make like IQ related memes, or it was where people would say like high IQ plays or whatever. I remember that being like that time period. So I remember it being like, it was sort of that zeitgeist thing I talked about earlier, where he felt very plugged in to sort of like what people would find funny at the time.
So do you think that there's only value in Chainsaw Man in the context that it's released? Like if you were to read this 50 years from now, do you think you'd still get the same value from it?
Obviously it would have to be different, but I still think it would be good.
But a lot of your value comes from comparisons to other things, right? Like you're saying it's good because
that
it's
is true, removing it from that context. But again, it's sort of the thing of how it has to work textually to, well, it doesn't have to, but it does work textually and subtextually.
But if it only works textually, then you're saying it wouldn't be good, right? You're saying that the value in what actually is good about it is the subtext and is the subversion.
No,
like
I
there
think
is
it's probably just an added layer of it.
So then why don't you like the anime? That's
because it's just so bad.
Yeah, but if it strips all the subtext, then you would still like it. That's what the anime is, and you're saying you don't like it still.
First of all, they cut that part. They cut that panel.
Which part?
They had glasses on, but they didn't have the dual pose where they both say it's time for a big brain maneuver. Power has the close up where she says it's time for several. What does she say? It's a word that starts with C. I
have no idea.
Cerebral is the word she
yes,
uses. It's time for cerebral something. Cerebral plan. But so first of all, anime bad, cuts a fucking panel, an iconic panel, one of the best in Chainsaw Man.
Yep.
But also it's not as funny. I don't know. And it's still like, I still have that context of like, also they don't say IQ in the anime, but there's apparently a lot of little things with the Crunchyroll. I learnt this through the Normies reaction, where the comments would actually properly translate them. But I think the comments were just quoting the manga, because it seems like they were quoting the exact... Now, that might be because the manga is actually properly translated, or it could just be that they're hacks and they're pretending that they translated it properly, but they were just getting it from the manga. So I don't speak Japanese. Ari does a little bit.
Yep. I got no idea.
What was I talking about? Oh, they cut the IQ thing, so anime bad. Because you said, why don't you like the anime? And
No, that's not what I said. I said that if you, in the future, would still value Chainsaw Man, stripping away the subtext and the subversion, and you saying you would still like it in that case because, on the surface, it's still a good story, you still don't like the anime because... Why? Like, and you're saying because it's not funny, but then you're saying it's you like the comedy because it's subversive, and I don't. No,
I was
but
saying that
what
I
I'm
would
trying to
like
say is that
manga.
the reading the manga in the future is like what I'm trying to be equivalent. Like the thing I'm equivocating it to is watching the anime now.
Manga is better than the anime to
Yeah,
me.
but why? Why? That's what I'm trying to understand. You're saying it's better
Because
than
of
the anime because of
they
the
cut they
subversion,
do so
right?
many little changes.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
you're
know.
saying you would like
I
it
have
without
to make that video.
Okay, all right.
But no, what changes? Why?
No,
What
sorry, not the
changes
changes.
am I
You're not saying
breaking
you like it because of the changes. You're saying you like you are you like do you like Chainsaw Man because of the comedy?
down? Yeah.
But do you only like it like the comedy because it's subversive? If the comedy wasn't subversive, would you still
No,
like
the
it?
comedy's not always subversive.
So if it was literally like what's like an example of a joke you like? Just any joke in Chainsaw Man.
Oh my god. I just thought of one,
Anything.
but it's later.
Oh, sorry. Well, we are
Um,
now in these first.
just if we brought up any like chapter, I feel like every page is a joke I like.
Okay,
But I literally
anything. Bring
can't
up a
think of
chapter.
any.
Think of one joke. We'll wait.
Well, hold on, we'll fucking thing. Let's go over here. And I feel like breaking down how the anime is less funny would definitely be part of this video. All right, we're on chapter 5. A way to touch some
Okay.
boobs. First of all, we've got Power doing a little 3 movement thing that's very cute and funny. They didn't do that in the anime. Then she just slaps Denji over the head and says, "Hurry up, human! Fine, I got a thirst for blood." Hilarious. She just hit him on the back of the head. That was funny.
So okay, I understand. So you unironically like Chainsaw Man because it's a good comedy. Like that, all the other stuff, all the other stuff you're saying is not necessary at all. Like you're like that's
no, because everything else factors into it. It's not just because it's comedy. But there was a thing that Nate, who was best guy ever, once said about One Piece, where he said that and he says this in his lecture, where he's like, One Piece is like 30% action, shonen fighting stuff, 20% world politics intrigue, and 50% comedy. I would say Chainsaw Man is like 65% comedy, 15% action, and 20% mystery, intrigue, character stuff.
Okay.
I think a massive part of Chainsaw Man is how funny it is, and I think the manga pulls off comedy much better than the anime.
Okay.
I think it also pulls off the characters much better, and again, it's just like little changes.
Yeah.
But I would have to write it all out and show them side by side, which I probably will try to do one day in a video.
Yeah. And then I'll respond to it. It'll be great.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I think I get it.
Is
so
there any way
you like
to
it? It's a good comedy. No, I don't know. Like let me have a look at my notes here because I don't even know what we're up to at the moment. Wait. So we talked about the
overall thoughts, major disagreements. We can discuss that now. We did that.
Yep.
Then depending on how in the weeds we go, optional sections. Kyle's claims about the anime. Did we you have notes on that?
I do have notes. I don't know what we've covered. So let's see. We talked about the funny thing. You said that Chainsaw Man, I think we've already talked about it. You said that Chainsaw Man like lightly parodies rather than taking itself seriously. We've already talked about that. You also said that we talked about this as well. You said it's slow because it has to be, and I just disagree with that. But we can't come to an agreement there. I don't know. But I guess
just on that.
Yeah.
I even if it was like a stylistic choice, I would still not like it. So it doesn't really matter. I guess it doesn't matter about intent there. I just when I bring up the intent stuff, it's like I don't even blame the anime for being slow. This is just how most anime adaptations are.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Okay, this is good. I think I decently like my goal here was to try and understand why you don't like the anime, and I think I understand. So the
problem is, first of all, I'm always all over the place when it's unscripted, and even when it's scripted sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to follow no matter what. And I could have tried to write something out, but I was watching episodes until like
half an hour before we busy man.
So, yes, I should have planned my time out more. I
guess that's it.
So are we going to talk about characters and stuff now?
Yeah, let's do it.
About what we like about Chainsaw Man?
Let's talk about the amazing story.
Oh, this is something we talked about that I just remember now. We should do top 3 characters each.
Oh,
you should go first.
Yeah, actually, okay. So, oh Jesus, top 3. Number 3 would be. Let me get my character.
I don't know if I can order them.
Yeah, I can definitely order them.
And I guess just quickly, I guess mine is technically kind of just for the first 38 chapters.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, for me, I think it would be Himeno, number 3. I would say Power, number 2. And I would say
Don't say
easily,
Don't say
undeniably,
Oh my god, he's so cringe. I hate
Kishibe, the master.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
he is easily number 1. I love him in every scene I've seen. He's so cool. Is in the anime, all the action scenes are the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he's just so cool. He's so cool. That's it.
He's gonna be in it a little bit more.
Good. I'm glad to see.
Very happy.
All right.
I thought he was gonna say Aki. What a
no,
bitch.
not at all. He doesn't make my top 3. Nothing. Not even close.
Didn't you say you related to him because you were like, oh yeah, I know these people?
And I do feel like I'm
relatability only gets you so far.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, absolutely.
Mine is just Power, Denji, and Makima. So
okay, fair
they're my top 3 throughout the whole thing. It changes a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. They're the funniest ones, and then Makima's really hot and really mysterious, brother.
Yep. I would say, she's probably number 4 on my list. I like her a lot.
There is especially this early stuff where it's like, what is Makima doing? It's like, man, this is the coolest shit.
I still don't know. I have no idea what she's doing.
What is she doing? Don't worry, I got a question. We're gonna ask Ari what he thinks Makima's doing at the end.
Yes.
So in terms of that, in terms of a story, real quick. I would have said that the beginning part, the very beginning part, I would have said it was really good. The Eternity Devil / Katana stuff, I probably would have said was the worst part. I don't know. The next part, I sort of meme on hating because Miller likes it so much.
Wait, which part? The Katana stuff?
No, the next part that you haven't read yet.
Oh, in the manga. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes. There's a certain character.
Okay. Let me explain my history of what I enjoyed when I was watching the story for the first time, like in the anime. So I watched episode 1 with excitement because I was like, wow, this is finally, after all these years of waiting for Chainsaw Man to come out, it's finally here. This is the great thing that everyone's been talking about. Everyone says Chainsaw Man is the best thing ever. I can't wait to watch it. Map is the best thing ever. They made Attack on Titan. It's so good. And I watched episode 1 and I thought it was very good. I was like, oh, okay, this is very good. But I had no idea. I thought in terms of directing, it's like the best directed thing I've ever seen in my life. But when
Evangelion, you fucking cow.
And it is very similar to Evangelion, the way it's directed, I think. I think they're both very... Evangelion and Chainsaw Man are the two things where, as I'm watching them, I've thought in my head, wow, this is like... It feels very live action. Like the things I like about the way Ava's directed and the things I like about
stuff was way later. What is he talking about? My goodness.
In my vague recollection of Chainsaw Man and Evangelion, but... Anyway, so I watched that. I thought it was great, but I had no idea why anyone liked this. I'm like, this just, like, it's good, but I mean, it's nothing, like, crazy special where I would even remember this, like, a year from now. Then I watched, like, a few more episodes, and I still, like, I was like, this is great. Like, it's just very well made, like, production-wise. The story's decently interesting, but I still don't understand the appeal. Like, it just wasn't, I guess maybe because all the comedy was gone, I didn't get it or anything. But, yeah, I didn't understand the appeal. And then the first episode with the Eternity Devil, where it's like we meet all these new characters like Himeno and Kobeni and all that, and they're stuck in that one level of the hotel. And I just thought that was really great. And I'm like, I kind of understand why Chainsaw Man is so great, at least to me, because you've got all these characters here and they're all interesting and they're all relatable and they're all doing things that are fun to watch. So from then onwards, I was in. Like that's where I at least to me, I was like, this is why I like Chainsaw Man. And I would assume that's why everyone else likes it too, but I guess it's not.
I think we're so different, EliteAri. Because
maybe,
I remember getting to the floor thing and being like, this is the first generic thing Chainsaw Man has done. Like, I've seen this floor shit done 1,000,000 times. And I remember being like, man, can we get out of this floor shit?
Yeah, no, I guess I also thought the same thing, where I was like, I've seen, like, it's not, the premise isn't interesting at all. Like, it's just, you're stuck in a floor, I get it, eventually you have to get out somehow. But to me, it's the characters. It's just having all the characters in one spot and them being relatable. That's really all it comes down to. Where I'm like, this is great. I haven't seen anything like this before, in my opinion.
I sort of agree on the second time. I was like, man, all the character stuff here is great. Kobeni tried to drink toilet water, classic. I
know, that's a good joke, right? I like
itself. That was a great one.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So that was my story. I got to the end. I liked it. There is one thing in the anime I just I didn't like at all. But
what is it? I can tell me now.
Episode 12, the fight with Katana Man. I thought that was very lame, and I was like, why are we watching this? Like, what's the point? But when he got to the train bit, I was like, this is great. But it was. But anyway,
I think
that's
my
experience.
If I recall correctly, that was my biggest pause. Was I like took 2 days off because it was the beginning of their fight, and I was like, man, this is gonna go on for a while or something. Why are we fighting this prick again?
Yep,
Obviously I knew why, but
he's
yeah.
bad.
And then it turned
Yeah,
out like it finished before the chapter ended, and I like how it ends. He has a fucking leg chainsaw, crazy
yeah,
stuff.
that was cool. Yeah,
Uh,
I did like that. But just the whole like it was drawn out in the anime, and it was just I just didn't like it at all. But everything else in the anime I love. I would give the anime overall like a 9 out of 10, and um, manga, yes, similarly, manga would probably be like an 8 or something. But that's my enjoyment of the
we'll see.
story overall. But yeah, anything to say to that?
The story, I don't know. I feel like I'm lapsed for singular examples. I feel like I always love the like chapters 2 through 8 of like everything. And I
Mm.
felt that same way with Chainsaw Man Part 2, where I was like, it's so cool when we're just beginning to
Oh, no
learn all this
spoilers.
stuff,
Yeah,
and
okay.
what a world we could be living in now. What a land of possibilities. I feel like I always like that. I like starting things.
Sure, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
you only like the beginnings of things. That's a Madman line. Um,
I think
but
another
yeah.
now actually just to cut in, another thing about Chainsaw Man is that I knew absolutely nothing. Like all I knew that was like there was
Yeah.
a character called Makima. I knew that from like memes and stuff. She's like a mummy or something. So I knew Makima. And I knew that there's
Johnny
obviously
Mum.
like there's a Chainsaw Man, like it's called Chainsaw Man. So I knew nothing. So it was really interesting watching it and just being completely open to speculation of having no idea. It was just very fun. But anyway, yeah, back to what you were saying.
I don't know how to talk about the plot really.
Well, I've got a bunch of notes if you want to talk about it, but if you got anything
I
else,
feel like if I talk about things, I want to talk about things in trends, but the
yeah.
trends only are trends because of shit that happens later. So
Okay, let's talk about the first chapter. All right, we'll breeze through this,
yeah,
but
it's okay.
and I'll point out my notes, and you'll be like, interesting. Is it an interesting note, Ari? My first thing is that I got a very like, it's a strange feeling, and I got this especially so when I went back. Like I watched the anime, and then I went back and read the manga, and on chapter 1, it was very like, I don't know how to say this, but to me, when I'm watching Denji live his life, like this terrible life where he's like, he's poor, he's in debt, he can't sleep, he's like coughing up blood, he's like mutilated, all that. And to me, he seems very content at the same time. Like it was interesting going from the end of the anime where he's like surrounded by all these people and he's living the life that he's lived. And then I go back to this and I'm like, he kind of seems like content here. And it was a weird like experience in watching that.
I yeah, because there's that first
Because it's like
page
him
where it's
and
like
yeah,
I
sorry, go ahead.
sold
Yeah.
yeah, where he's like I sold all these things, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, they just made me love this fucking idiot in one page because he's selling all of his shit, and he's like so nonchalant about it almost. He is sort of content. He's like, yep, just living my life over
Yeah,
here, old
it's like
Denji,
him and
walking the
Pochita.
road.
Like that's what it is, and they have that cute
Yeah.
little house, and they're just like sleeping together, and it's just like all these terrible things are happening to him, but he's still like, I don't know, it's fine. Like he complains about it still. He's like, can't I just dream or whatever? But like even it's still like it's surprisingly decent, and it was a bit of like a whiplash to go from like the end of the anime back to this, and to see him still just like fine. It was weird. That's all I can say about that. But
That will certainly
yeah.
be iterated upon moving forward, I think.
Okay, interesting. Well, the other thing from chapter 1 is the fact that Pochita gives Denji his heart, which is clearly like a some type of symbolism, but I have no idea what it is. Maybe it's not symbolism, maybe it's just a dumb like meme thing, but I just can't piece it together because Pochita's the devil, obviously, and he's giving the heart, and I'm like, some human thing. I don't know what's going on here, but it's my other note. Genius,
Well,
right?
that sure is something crazy.
Thank you,
That
thank you.
might be iterated upon in the future.
Okay,
The
great. That's
just
good to hear.
quickly because I might
Yeah,
forget.
yeah,
The Pochita doing cute things at the end of every chapter is very cute, and I like it.
yeah. True.
He's a
Yeah.
bat, and then he's got boobs or something, and then he gets puked on.
Yep.
Crazy. He's certainly a mascot that we can
What a
sell.
design. Yeah.
In He's the new Pikachu. We're putting his face on everything. What a
Yep.
cute little dog.
Yep. He had his own like Twitter emote when it was trending. It was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Twitter does that sometimes.
so
I know
that's
that 'cause of
chapter
Rex.
1 of Chainsaw Man. Then after that first
Mhm.
chapter, Denji joins public safety, and there's like a public safety arc where it's like him meeting Aki and Power and all that. Let me think. I was overall good, fun.
There is sort of the it has to be EliteAri. It has to be it. We have to be making fun of Naruto here. We've
All
got
right.
the dark-haired Sasuke dude with a fucking sword who wants revenge. My goodness, and he's super
Hmm.
serious. And we've got our yellow-haired idiot here who doesn't take anything
Wait, what do you mean?
seriously.
It's a
He
manga, black and
secretly
white.
has a thing. Yes, yes. I seen the covers. All right.
All right,
Naruto got yellow hair. So does Denji.
sure.
Covers don't exist. Manga exists in black and white. Anyway, it has to be EliteAri. He wants revenge, just like Sasuke, and he's the serious
Just
one,
like
whereas
guts. Oh
Naruto
my
doesn't
god.
take anything seriously.
Yeah.
It has to be. But yeah, the because Aki definitely feels like a tropey thing, and we'll see if that is subverted later on too. Um,
Oh god. Okay.
but yes,
Well, Denji, meets the muscle devil that is not in the anime, which was interesting. But what's
oh, I thought you were
interesting
going to skip
there?
over that, but yes.
No. What's interesting there, and it's strange that they cut it out from the anime, is that at that point he is willing to give up everything, like his entire dream that he achieved through Makima, like getting all this food anytime he wants. He was willing to give that up because he thought like he loved Pochita so much that he doesn't want to kill another nice devil.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I would not have thought that at all. Because later on, he's like throwing cars at like the leech devil with like a human in there, and he's willing to kill them or whatever just for
Well,
his
yes,
dream. And I'm like,
there's
Jesus, like
there's a very obvious thing where he only saves women and children, and he doesn't care about dudes at all, and it's funny AF.
well, yeah. But
Um,
in this case, he's not doing it for the kid. He's doing it for the fact that he doesn't want to kill a devil, like a nice devil, cause just like Pochita.
Well, it's sort of an unsaid thing. He never said. Well,
Hmm?
later he might say that he only saves women and children.
Oh no,
Um,
spoilers.
but
Yeah,
yeah. But like, I think it is definitely part of it there, where he's like he does that thing where he doesn't always admit that he's trying to save the girl or whatever when she's like,
sure.
"You idiot, run away" or something, unless you want to get killed. But
Yeah.
obviously he's being nice when he's at Aki's bedside, whatever. He says, "Oh, we just wanted to eat." Well, Power says that we just wanted to eat your food. Obviously, they care about him a little bit, and it's both.
Yeah.
And we're just having a funny out. But yeah, another reason the anime sucks, they cut chapter 2. Can you believe that?
Yeah, the worst. Yeah, true. Okay, next up. Denji is oh yeah, so just talking about how he wants to touch boobs basically. Like he's living the life he dreamed of. He's eating food, but he still isn't happy. Wants to touch boobs. It's interesting. I thought that was cool. I didn't think it was
mentioned
like
in chapter 1 too, because he's like, "Man,
yeah, like his
I'm
dream
never
with
gonna get a
Pochita,
girl
right?
or whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
It slowly advances into him like realizing what that, because I think he specifically says like, "Oh, I want to fall asleep in her arms as we play video games,"
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's like there is some intimacy like want there, and he sort of thinks of that as touching boobs, but obviously that evolves
Yeah.
after he does it, etc.
Yep. Okay. I don't know. Should we be going like this through all the notes? I don't even know. Next up would be Power and Meowie. Like they have a cool story together in this like little arc, which I thought was cool. Where you've got well, I guess it's revealed the fact that Power does care, and like she has this great line where she says, "I loved blood, the taste, the smell, feeling death." And
Yes,
I
this is
recently
great.
discovered for the first time that blood is nice and warm. Then she hugs Meowie, and I'm like, this is the cutest thing I've seen. And she's like crying when she's inside like the Bat Devil. I'm like, oh, this is great. Power's
Yeah,
great.
there's
That's probably the
clear-
bulk of why I like Power so much. Just that one scene alone, ranked bumped her up to like 2 on my list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a clear like Power acts like cat, Denji acts like dog.
Yeah.
Motif going on.
That's great. Okay, next up then. I said that was cute, the Power thing, but the cutest thing I've seen in my life in this entire manga was the story that Denji tells about the day that he woke up and Pochita wasn't there, and then he went out searching for him, and then he came home and he found that Pochita was crying, and then they fell together asleep, and it was just the cutest thing I've seen in my life. Just the crying Pochita there, missing Denji, maybe, unless he was like out on a mission or something, crazy, but I thought that was really cute. Then I'm gonna blast through all these notes, and then if you have anything, you just cut me off. All right. Next up, the Bat and Leech Devil fight. The con thing was the coolest thing I've seen as well. It was cool in both the manga and the anime. I liked how it was adapted actually. In the manga, it's really cool in the fact that it like exits the panel, like it's off the page kind of, and it's like a it looks like it's really close as well, like the blurring in that. Yeah, it is a thing that happens throughout the manga where he messes with the panels to like have things out of them, and it's really well done. In the anime, I thought it's really cool. So like the slow mo and everything, it looks great. Next up, Makima is manipulating.
Just
Yeah, go
quickly
ahead. Yeah.
on the con thing. It disappears in a lame way in the anime, and it's better in the manga where the eyes are sort of left as it sort of fades out into smoke a little bit, whereas in the anime it just all disappears at once. Was something I noticed, but
Okay, that's good to
that
hear.
was just a little detail.
Okay, it's
See,
one
we
of
got
those
examples
things
of
you
these
hate.
little
Yeah,
details.
that's good. I like it. Yeah. Next up, Makima is manipulating Aki as well. Like, seems like she's basically manipulating everyone. Which is interesting.
Why do you say she's doing this with Aki?
Oh, because there's this one point where she has like I think Power and Denji are like at the house, and then Aki like calls her, and she's like, "There's no one else I would trust more to have these two in your care." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so she's manipulating him too." It's just interesting the fact that she's manipulating everyone, not just Denji, who's like this half devil human, whatever.
There's a very interesting thing where initially I thought, well, I guess no. I completely missed the first time reading that Aki also actually liked Makima. The anime obviously makes it a lot more obvious. But it was just funny that I completely missed it. And I remember going back in the manga and messaging Miller like, holy shit, this shit was fucking obvious from the beginning. What the fuck? He's like, now in the anime, they do add the scene of before he goes into her office that one time. He like fixes his hair and everything. Which is cute. A little less subtle, but yeah.
Do you remember I don't know if we remember, but do you remember the scene in the anime where Makima does up Denji's tie? Do you know what I'm talking about? I thought that was great. I thought that was awesome. No, even just the scene of like her doing up the tie, just as a concept, I thought that was great. Anyway. What were we up to? Denji touches boobs, but it doesn't change his life as much as he expected.
The great gag where it's a shit, what does she call him? Yeah, she's got a breast pad on. And she's like the greatest invention that ever existed because Power is a girl still and she still cares about making her boobs look bigger.
Yep.
What a wacky joke.
Indeed. But that was great. And Denji, he got what he wanted, but now what do you do? You know, it wasn't as great as he was hoping. Like that was, I guess that was another thing where when I saw that in the anime for the first time, I was like, this is like another thing where I thought was relatable and like something that made Chainsaw Man stand out. Like that was maybe the first sign of it when I saw that.
Yeah.
But anyway, then I guess that's all I've got. Like the last note on this like arc of him joining public safety is just the gun devil. Like it gets mentioned here finally.
Yes, there is the Makima scene where she again maybe she's manipulating EliteAri. I'm not spoiling that. But the
scene with Denji like putting the hand in the mouth.
The ear, the mouth, the boob touch.
And the promise of granting any wish that she offers. Like it's such a like obviously she's manipulating him.
Fuck. Oh my god, I had a point that wasn't just bringing it up, but I completely fucking forgot.
Something in comparison to Power. The gun devil is what we just talked about. That it was.
It's that like unserious having a deep revelation thing where Denji is so dumb that it was something you think is so dumb. But I remember having this realization myself, and it's like where he's like, "Oh, sex feels better with people you like," or like anything romantic feels better with, and it's like, well, that's so obvious. But there's a point in every young person's life where they have to have this realization. And Chainsaw Man does that a bunch. It's going to do it in like the next chapter you're going to read in like my favorite Chainsaw Man moment of all time.
Oh boy. I'll scrutinize it, don't worry.
Yes.
True. What did you think of that scene in the anime with Makima? I thought that was like one of the best produced like kind of things. You really didn't like that?
Much, you know.
Jesus Christ. So you would
scream, you know, what a fucking idiot.
So did you like that scene for the comedy in the manga? Is that what you liked about that scene?
No, I don't even think so. Oh, I guess.
What did you like about that scene?
It is so funny.
All right.
I don't know. It's everything. It's sort of the balls of.
It's the vibe.
Because part of it is the Power thing of like it's the vibe of Chainsaw Man. It's the First of all, the balls to have him feel Power's boobs, and that sort of transitions into that scene where we're sort of having sort of these overtly sexual things, and we're sort of going through the minute. Because I would always complain, remember, EliteAri, you remember the Thorfinn Vinland Saga video about how all this stuff happens off screen? What if Thorfinn went through this arc? How fun would that have been? But instead, Denji actually goes through it. Chainsaw Man actually shows the piece-by-piece fucking relationship thing here. And even if it is sort of one-sided, and obviously Makima probably isn't into Denji at this point. So yeah, even from that, I was like appreciating that something actually did it, kind of like Berserk.
So you loved when an anime did it as well, right?
Yeah.
First time, crazy.
No, because the anime did it slightly worse for a bunch of little reasons that will be revealed in the video I eventually make where I bring them up side by side.
Excellent.
You'll have
I'm
to
so
wait
excited.
around, Ari.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next up, Gun Devil. He appeared. He or it. I don't know if it's a he. It appeared in the US 13 years ago. Current location unknown, and it killed 1.2 million people, which is insane.
It didn't just appear in the US though. It appeared because there was a big terrorist attack in the US, but it appeared all over the country. Can you believe this shit-ass fucking terrible motion cartoon cuts the coolest, one of the most iconic Chainsaw Man fucking pages of all time, with all the death counts.
That is very true.
I don't know what the fuck this fucking
that is the one thing that is missing from the anime. Like, forget about the muscle devil, it doesn't matter. But missing the gun devil thing, that was really cool in the manga. I don't know why they would have cut it.
There's a callback to it later in the manga too, where we do a similar thing, and it's like,
then if Kyle, you just restored my faith in the anime, because if there's a callback to it later, they definitely removed it with intent. Then, like you think the person reading the manga who's adapting this anime, you think they looked at it and they were like, okay, there's this here, which is obviously a big part of this chapter, and it's a big deal about the Gun Devil, who's like the big villain of the season. And then you think that they've is that really? Is that really what you think?
Manga panels with the little thingies.
Jesus Christ! You think all of the people involved in the production of this anime, the story, like the same person who wrote this, wrote like Attack on Titan, and you think that they didn't think of like what's happening later in the story? Like, there has to be a reason they wouldn't include this, right?
Well, first of all, I was kind of memeing with that, but second of all, there's no way they're doing that. You just don't know the context of the second thing.
Okay, fair enough.
There's no reason why they wouldn't have done it now if they were going to do it later. Though they might just do it later and pretend that it didn't exist beforehand, because I've seen anime adaptations do that as well. Where did Mika's A come from? I don't know.
Well, that's a manga thing. I don't know. Okay, whatever.
Checkmate, atheist.
Okay, Gun Devil. We'll talk about that we'll talk more about the Gun Devil in the theory stuff. But it's a very interesting.
We'll talk
villain.
More about it in the future. Don't you worry.
Yeah. It's just it's an interesting villain to set up. But
it seems to be an overarching goal. It seems like this is it. The Gun Devil. Everything seems to be. Every little
it is interesting. I wonder how, like, I don't say anything, please, but I wonder how big of a villain it will be.
Well,
like, will it be? I wonder if it'll be the whole series. Like, even if you haven't seen the end of it, like if it's even at the end of part 2, it's like the Gun Devil is the big thing, or if it'll be like next arc, it's like done. I got no idea, and I'm very interested.
Let me tell you that me and Miller have speculated greatly on what you will think about how this resolves.
Oh boy,
going both ways, by the way. On whether or not you will like it or hate it, so keep that in mind.
I am very interested into seeing how Chainsaw Man goes, just as a whole. I feel like there's things that could make it the greatest thing I've ever seen, like better than Berserk. But there's things where it's like, I'm not sure. Like if it does embrace this comedy stuff that you like so much, maybe it won't turn out as good. But I'm very. It's
funny because from what you've said, I feel like there's moments where I'm like, oh my god, Ari's gonna love it when this fucking shit happens. But there are other things where I'm like,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I'll see soon. I can finally read it tonight. Anyway, so
let's read the whole fucking thing, Ari.
No. Alright, so first we talked about chapter 1. Now we talked about Denji joining public safety. The next arc is the Eternity Devil and the drinks. So again, I'll go through all these notes. You can cut in whenever you want. And I wrote, this is the good shit. All right, like seeing all these characters in a confined space, good stuff. Love it. And we find out that Himeno loves Aki, and that's like her whole character basically throughout. Well, it's not really her whole character, but it's like it's a main drive here is that she doesn't talk about it, but it's like her loving Aki is like a big thing. And then Kubeni tries to drink from the toilet water, and that's just the funniest thing ever. And then also Power ate all the food, and that's also the funniest thing ever. I guess everything's the funniest thing ever.
The Nobel Peace Prize is way funnier than all the shit Ari's saying is funny, by the way.
No, the Nobel Peace Prize is... It's not funny. It's a nice setup for the chapter where Denji does discover the perpetual motion machine. It's brilliant.
Well, that's the second part of the joke.
That's not a joke. It's just a brilliant setup, Kyle. It's just genius,
funny.
Fujimoto.
It's funny. There are no jokes in Chainsaw Man.
That's very true. It's just reality. Anyway, so Denji gets his first kiss from Himeno at the bar. And that was it was censored.
I did like in the anime that they censored it. That was great. I like that.
That's good to hear. But this,
and I love that they also censored it when it was the rats on the ground. Yeah, that was
true.
Good one, anime. Good one.
Yep. But I guess that whole what to say about this is just the whole like that bar scene and then the scene afterwards is like Himeno at her house. I just thought that was the best part of this season. I think, or in terms of the manga, this part of the story. Um, it's just
Pretty
so
great.
like it's the most relatable stuff, and you know me, I love my relatability in Chainsaw Man, and just seeing them like all drunk together at the bar and then go back to someone's house, like it's just I don't know, it's just very yeah, very I like that a lot.
And when Himeno fucks up saying "rest in peace" 3 times, that was funny.
Oh yes, I was thinking because I have another example like actually in my notes where she says what is it here? Like why is the moo thing just like moo I'm a cow and I'm like oh this is great. Anyway, yeah, drunk Himeno, best thing ever. And then after all that scene, well actually what did you think of the unique like directing and animation in the scene in her apartment? Did you like it or did you cringe or what? Like you got like a bunch of first person things, you got mirrors, you got like live action
person stuff
like
is cool.
yeah.
Because they would do it, they would always cut back because they would do like at the beginning of episodes. Sometimes they would like re-show what happened like at the end of last time because they're trying to pad it out. But instead, they would show it from another person's perspective, and specifically at the beginning of the Himeno episode, they showed her getting around. Now, again, her like sort of dawdling around and not just finding herself on top of Denji, but that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Changes the scene a little bit, but I liked everything up until that point before it had implications. But yes, because they do it with Aki in the dinner scene with Himeno in the last episode, where the first cigarette thingy, where it was from his perspective and it was first person. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was.
I did like that as a meme. I don't know if I thought there was too much unique directing.
Jesus Christ!
In the first scene.
Wait, what scene are you talking about?
Well, the Denji Himeno one.
Like the one at the end. The
one at the end of the episode. Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't even know what to say. I mean, yeah, it's not as unique as the second time you see it, but I just think like I could point to any scene in Chainsaw Man and just the composition, like the way things are framed, like it's everything is just it's very well thought out and looks really interesting to me. Like the colors, like everything. Like all the directing choices you have to make, I think they all just look great.
It's all I can remember. But the purple light thingy window thing, that was cool.
Like even the angle that you see her from, like it's just everything is well thought out and well done. I think in the way I see it. I don't know, stylistic differences. I know you like stuff I don't like. Yeah, it's all but opinions, inner opinions. Himeno is Denji's first friend. I actually what's interesting is the fact that at least in the anime, I thought was really cool. Is that her entire like story is in one episode? Like the start of this, it's essentially an episode focusing just on her, where like the episode opens with her getting drunk or being drunk at her house, and then it ends with her death. And it's a very nice like wrap up of like you're appreciating her in the beginning, like you're getting to know her a lot better. And when she's just taken away so quickly, when she like finally is becoming Denji's friend like very quickly, and she's gone forever, and it's just sad. And I thought that was really well done in terms of like having that entire story in one episode. I thought that was a very good idea, like a very cool adaptation choice. But I'm assuming you hated that as well. But let's move on to the.
It was whatever, you know.
Yes.
What the fuck? Did you buy that Makima was dead for a second?
Well, we're not up to that yet, but yeah, absolutely not.
Well, that happens before Himeno dies.
What? Wait. Oh, wait. Was it in the anime? Definitely.
Yeah, there's a fake because everybody gets shot, and then we cut to the Katana Devil, eating, and then they start that fight.
Oh, okay. Yes. Jesus Christ. I just completely.
Did you just say you did buy it? Because if so,
no. I knew. I'm like, obviously she's not dead. But I didn't know how. Like, I still don't know how she survived. But no, I didn't buy it at all. Not for a second. Everyone else, I was like, okay, I guess everyone else could be dead. But not her.
They did kill basically everybody off, even like the characters we knew for like 3 lines at the.
You know, what was funny is the fact that in the first time when I was watching it, I was like, okay, they killed these people I didn't know, and then when I went to read it, I like there were a few characters at the bar where I was like, oh, I don't actually remember if these guys die or not. I hope they survive, and then they died, and I was like, oh, great, I guess they do die, and it was sad the second time, but the first time I didn't care. Anyway.
There was stuff about that when I was rereading, or before I had reread it, because I couldn't remember what happened to Maui. I couldn't remember if she ended up going to live with them or if she died because of the Bat Devil. That was one of the things like that. I was like, oh, I guess she did She is
Yep.
on Power's shoulder when she shows up.
Great thing.
There are other characters, mostly later characters, that I'm like, what the fuck happened to them again? Chainsaw Man moves fast, and I forget some things, but yes,
Yep.
I understand this feeling.
Samurai Sword. That is the next arc. So essentially, just talking about that one, the scene with Himeno dying all the way up to the end of the story is what's left to talk about here. But yeah,
it is another one of those subtext Lamau other stories memes where like immediately like we are using everybody's strongest powers here and they all fail and it's kind of crazy. Like the sword thing, which is actually a nail from Aki, was teased last time. You're like, man, we're gonna save this for a massive fight down the line, and he has to use it like immediately in the fight, and he does.
Oh,
like,
I don't know
the
about that.
second
Kyle.
the fight starts.
I don't know about
it's fucking.
that.
It's like
no. I'm actually gonna hard disagree with that.
Other stories.
No, I think the fact that
part?
they already teased using that sword in the Eternity Devil, so it's like we're gonna use it soon. Obviously, now that we've teased it already. Like to me, it wasn't
didn't
a subversion
even work.
at all.
It's a big subversion.
Okay, I guess that's if you're talking
useless.
about that as the subversion, yes. I thought you were saying the fact that it's just used so quickly.
No, I remember viscerally having a moment where I'm like, oh my god, he's going to use it now. The first time I read it, there's no way. And being like, there's no way he's going to do it. And then she uses her whole ghost thing, and I'm like, there's no way, bro.
Yeah, true. What do you think of the ghost appearing in the anime? I thought that was also cool, like seeing all the hands and like zooming out.
Yeah,
come on.
That one was cool, but then every other shot of it was kind of hideous and it looked terrible.
How about when it gets bitten and then the snake is there? I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, and then the snake disappearing.
Snake disappears. Cool. Yeah, man, good stuff. What a great anime.
A snake. They fucked up the others when the snake girl kills herself or maybe doesn't. They fucked that up.
How?
Because it looks way cooler in the manga where it just shows up and it pushes again outside of the panel in. And her head's just like sudden. It's such a sudden movement because that's how you do things in manga. And it was sudden. I'm pointing Ari like I'm on the page.
I understand. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah,
you're visually seeing it. It was sick. Yep. There's also more of that stuff later, but
talking about that, the cursed devil in the manga, the little flicks come from outside the page. I think that's the best use of that I've seen so far. And the anime just doesn't. You can't like. There's no way to do it, but.
We used to brainstorm about this every stream. You make it 4x3 and then have him come out of the darkness thingy.
That would come off as I don't know about that. I don't agree with that. I think that would come off as a bit weird. I don't know.
It's cool, bro. And
like that maybe that would be cringe if I saw that. Yeah.
Unlike Ari over here, we got one shot of Himeno or whatever the fuck, and he's losing his nonsense, comparing it to Evangelion.
Yep.
Actually, some aspect ratio stuff. He doesn't like it. Remember then the ending of that episode? They then did the aspect ratio thing, and I was like, shake my head, fellas, shake my head.
I know they can't win, right? Nothing they can do. The cursed devil comes from outside that we already just talked about. Is he meant to be? Oh, okay. This is something interesting, and maybe this is like me just well, it can't be. I guess so. Katana Man, Samurai Sword. Do we agree that he is very lame and very goofy? Or do you see him as like a serious threat, which is like capable and like, I don't know. How do you see him?
He's a little scary, especially when people are dying at the beginning. I definitely didn't like him the first time. I feel like I've softened on him and think he's pretty okay, I guess.
I just think he's like, everything about him is just like, I don't know. It's goofy.
There is something
like the fact that even like he has that weird power up move, right? And he just like keeps spamming that basically, and like how his motivations are just simple. He just wants to kill Denji because of his grandpa or whatever.
And
he has that like little hand thing, like in that final episode. He like takes the hand hook off and he's got like a little sword in his hand, and like this guy's very goofy.
That is kind of funny.
It's like a weird
I don't know how that works. Can Denji do that?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I do like that it's just like Lamount's Denji, but with swords, and he's got him through his hands and everything.
He looks really cool, that's for sure. Anyway.
To backtrack slightly, because it has to do with this scene, the Cursed Devil thing, there are certain things where I'm like, these are all like incredible ideas, just generally. And I feel like Chainsaw Man has a lot of these incredible, like, unique, like, this is so fucking good ideas. I think the Cursed Devil thing coming outside, like having an attack come outside the panel stuff, a lot of the other stuff does happen later. I had like 2 other examples of shit that we had seen. But now I can't think about it. But I definitely remember that's another thing tying all the way back into the appeal of Chainsaw Man is that these sort of like ideas where you're like, man, that's so good. Why didn't I think of that type
Yeah.
stuff? Which I guess I just don't usually get from normal stories, the ones that aren't Chainsaw
Yeah.
Man. But anyway, let's keep trucking forward. I just wouldn't have remembered to bring that up
Yep.
otherwise.
Himeno wants Aki to cry for her. I don't really have much to say to that.
Yes.
It's just
It's
it's
sort of
a cool thing.
yeah. It's a like dying wish type thing.
Yeah. A
It's
selfish
like a
dying wish.
false. But it's also fake selfishness because it's like I'm actually the one sacrificing things here, but I'm asking something completely mundane and obvious of you.
Yeah.
And it's sort of also like a self-worth thingy because even when she's drunk, she's like shit talking Makima, but she's obviously pretty jealous. Because Denji's really into her, and of course Aki is really into her. So yeah, it all sort of ties into that ending, and it's cool.
Yep. Makima sacrifices the prisoners to kill the shooters. And that was really, I thought that was a really cool adaptation thing. Where
No, Ari, no, it was so bad.
no, I
No, it's
thought it
actually
was
okay, but they
very good.
they fucked up the pose, the iconic chainsaw.
Wait, the one
there's
where
like
she's
10
standing and it
iconic
like
Chainsaw Man.
zooms at her or whatever.
Yes, the
I thought that was
first
really
one where
cool in
it's
the
like,
anime.
no, they didn't even do it. She's just doing a hand sign, but in the anime, she's actually like twisting her hands, and I'm like, just show the freeze frame. It's so much cooler.
That
Like they did in
is,
the manga.
you're insane, Kyle. I can't believe it looks
It's
so good.
I think about that panel lives in my brain eternally.
Yeah, and that scene from the anime lives in my brain. It was
Yes,
so
but
good.
you're a fucking motion baby, EliteAri.
Yeah, and you're like I
Take my
don't even know, you're like a paper nerd or whatever. What do we need to like come up
You're
with like an
a
insult for manga?
you're a stillness something.
Yes, you're a still.
Freeze
I don't
frame.
know. You're a page turning loser.
All the bad
F
words that we
Yeah,
can't say. Freeze frame. Frog. I don't know.
Genius. Look
Keep
at you.
going.
Yeah, we'll think of something for next time. Oh, okay. Kobeni.
I think you could call me literate, smart, genius, caring.
Yeah, you love comic books. Yeah. Very
Yes.
smart of you. Kobeni leaps into the air and has an action scene against
Something I
Katana Man.
completely forgot never
And
happened.
it is the
It's so
sickest
funny.
action scene, Kyle. It's just so cool, isn't it?
Because
Especially in the anime.
Kobeni is one of the characters I notoriously make fun of Miller for liking.
No, I love Kobeni.
I call him
She's
a
great.
pedophile all the time for liking her.
All right.
Even though she's 20, she dresses like she's 12.
Just wait till we get to the miscellaneous.
A lot of the I guess more things we can't comment on because of future events. But I had completely forgotten she ever had an action scene, and I was like, "Oh shit, you did a flip and stuff." Well,
yeah,
now, completely forgot about that. But yeah,
neat. Now,
Arai died. Ari, her part.
Yeah,
the
what a
other dude that was
legend
on the floor.
He got shot and he steps in front of her because I'm already dead already. Let me save this person. Unless he did it accidentally, who knows? It's not confirmed either way. Anyway, cool stuff. What a guy.
Yeah,
I hardly knew him, but then he died. So, maybe we've already talked about this, but we did. Denji has a moment of self-reflection and then dismisses it as not thinking about it. So it's like when he's talking about, oh, I'm not crying, I don't have anyone to cry for. And then he's like, oh, whatever. Why I don't need to think about this. I'm like, cool. Yeah, very relatable. What a guy.
It's another subversive thing where it's like a big emotional internal conflict, and then he's just like, instead of having a massive story arc about this, Lamal, just don't think about it. Great.
So you like it for the subversion? I like it for the relatability. We both like it. As long as we both like it.
But
oh, you like it for the comedy. I forgot. Yeah.
It's an ad. Oh, that too. But there's just layers to it.
Okay, of course. True. The layers of irony or something, right? Crazy.
Yes. Chainsaw Man is on the 99th layer of irony.
No, I think it's on the first layer of irony.
Yeah. So, go hang out with Miller, kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk to him about stuff. I don't know. So. Oh, we've talked about this as well. The Kishi Bear fighting Power and Denji. So cool in the anime, Kyle.
The blood thing, the blood, like the blood above, like in the cups thing, is still so cool.
Like, did you see when he like dodges it and it's like? Are you talking about that scene? Or wait, you talking about the manga or the anime?
Just the idea of using Power's power like that.
It is cool. Yeah.
I just said Power's powers. But
Legit
yeah, I thought
genius.
that was cool.
I thought in the anime, just him dodging the stuff coming from the sky and like kidding them all, and I'm like, this guy is cool, and that's why he's my favorite character. And I hope he has a good long life and doesn't die. Anyway, he's cool. That's my whole point. Next up, Makima visits the Yakuza, and they claim to be a necessary evil.
Another iconic chainsaw meme. She's got fucking eyes in a bag. What the fuck? That's another
Yeah,
one of those
true.
incredible ideas where it's just like an iconic Chainsaw Man panel is the eyes in the bag thing. What wackiness? That's
Yeah, you know what?
Chainsaw
I'll
Man
be
right
honest,
there,
that didn't
EliteAri.
stand out to me as something amazing. I was like, oh, okay, cool,
I
but
can't believe this fella.
yeah. Yeah, she thinks. I guess the point of that scene was about trying to understand her a little bit, where she's talking about how they're not a necessary evil; they're actually unnecessary, and the only necessary thing is the state, like the people in power to
Yes.
control everything. Which
If things need to be necessary evils, the state will regulate and control them. It's a sort of a big government talking point. It's kind of cute.
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if that's her true like. If she's actually revealing stuff about herself
Opinion,
or
yeah.
not. Like it's impossible to tell. But it's very notable. Like that stood out to me as a Makima thing.
It's also funny where it's like the Yakuza protects the Japanese people from foreigners, the big scary
Well, and the
foreigners.
thing is, when he's saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, they do, don't they? And I'm on his side, and then Makima just like subverts it, and well, not subverts it, but like
It's
tells
also
him how
funny
dumb he is, and I'm like, oh, I am dumb, aren't I? Oh my god.
Yeah, because Japan has like a massive like anti-immigration stance, and it's very hard to immigrate to Japan. It's like
True.
99% ethnically Japanese place. It's like,
Yeah.
Lamau, these are the attitudes that Japan has, and it's pretty far behind the rest of the world.
Yep.
You can't say that in where we live, EliteAri, or in Western sort of cultures. But yes,
Hey, we can say whatever we want, Kyle.
I don't know. I'm not
To-
saying that we don't want no foreigners here and we want to be ethnically pure. If
Good. That
your
was a
stance-
test. All right, you
I've
passed.
seen
All
your
right.
last name, EliteAri. You can't
All
be
right,
saying
all
these
right.
things.
Let's move on. So next up, we meet the Shark Fiend, the Violence Fiend, the Spider Devil, and the Angel Devil.
Oh, you don't even know Shark Boy's name. I nearly said it.
Not at all.
But you don't. You just know him as the Shark Fiend.
Yep.
Yes,
He's
indeed.
interesting. He has a big head. Well, temporarily, I guess he can turn into the Shark Devil at some points. The Violence Fiend,
It's funny.
so cool. Like, at least in the anime with that
Yes.
like action scene he did, I thought that was really cool.
Another great joke is when Power is like, yeah, my IQ is like super high for a fiend. It's like 100.
Yes.
And then she pretends that it's actually 1,000. But it's shown here because the Shark Fiend is like dumb as fuck and he's just like screaming things. And he's clearly got like 50 IQ. So it is just sort of showing that Power is actually really smart. The Violence
didn't pick that
Fiend
up at
seems
all.
pretty
It's
smart
interesting.
too.
Violence
he's,
Fiend
like,
is
streaming,
very
He's like
interesting.
zombie, bite. He can't even like say sentences. But yeah, so Power is actually the smartest fiend of all, though the Violence Fiend seems pretty smart too, I guess.
Yeah. They seem like I wonder what's under that mask is my point about like the Violence Fiend. It's interesting. Like obviously they pointed out the mask, never take it off, because they're too strong. And violence
What's
is
under
obviously
the
something
mask?
that a lot of people are scared of, so I would assume he'd be very powerful.
Yes, but fiends are always weaker than devils, don't forget.
But
And
not in
he's
the
even
case of the Violence Fiend, because he's just so strong already.
Well, I think it still is the case.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
it is.
He's
Yeah.
Violence is such a big, strong devil that even in
Yeah.
fiend form, he's super. So we got the gas mask on.
Yes.
Will the mask ever come off? What's under there? Ooh.
But he looks so cool, and he has a cool action scene in the anime.
But we
so
have
cool.
we have two fiends and we have two devils,
Yes,
two actual devils. The spider devil,
Indeed.
weirdly enough, is friendly to humans, and they
Yep.
specifically say that if a devil has a human or is in like a humanoid form, because she's not a fiend, she has not taken over the body of a person. She just the spider fiend spider devil as imagined is human-like, which is peculiar.
Yeah.
And then we've also got the angel devil, which is just a funny joke because it's a funny wordplay. Because how can an angel be a devil, Lamau? But it is.
That is some of that comedy.
It is a
Chainsaw
boy.
Man comedy. It's a boy?
Yeah. It's a boy.
Wait, how do you know it's a boy?
Because I'm pretty sure they use he, him pronouns later, EliteAri.
Oh my goodness.
But
Using
this is
your
a big
future
thing.
knowledge. All right.
Yeah, I was watching the normies reaction, as we know, and they were confused for a little bit, and they were hitting on him. And then they found out in the comments next week that it was a boy.
Oh, God.
Chris said he didn't care. Lamau, what
True.
a Chad.
Base.
But yes, a boy eats a zombie head. Has a moment with Aki, which a lot of people ship them because of, where especially in the anime, I think they led into sort of the manga shipping stuff because it's a very
I don't know about that,
romantic scene where
Kyle.
all the violence is happening in the
Yeah.
background, and they walk over to each other and have like a little cute stare down moment.
Yep.
So much for Makima. Aki's attention has gone elsewhere.
Yeah, he was very
Yeah.
invested in that
I
handing
did
over.
completely forget that all these characters were introduced in this fight scene, and I was like, because I remember seeing them all in the intro. I'm like, there's no way we get up to them in
Yeah.
this fucking anime, but they are at the end of this fight,
It was a very
and
cool
then
scene.
iterated upon
It's always a fun scene where you like have a bunch
much
of
more in the
people you're
future.
introducing, and you're like giving a
Yes,
lowdown of
and
like what all these people are.
the setup is very cute. Akishibe's like, well, I got to give you the rundown in case they
Yeah.
escape or something. Um, but yeah, it's like that Megarth scene where he goes over all the shifters' powers. Can you believe
True.
that?
Very true.
They have a lot of moments like this in One Piece too.
Oh, I'll have to
But
read that
anyway,
one day.
one day.
Next up, this is the first thing where you're gonna have to explain stuff to me. All right. And hopefully it doesn't require future
You know,
knowledge.
I'm
I
good
don't
at
think it
explaining
does.
things. If we've established something today, that
Yeah,
must
of
be
course.
it.
So Aki fights Sawatari, and he gets Himeno's cigarette, which says "Easy Revenge," and I'm utterly confused, Kyle. I don't understand the significance of this. I don't understand what Easy Revenge is talking about. Is it talking about like getting addicted to smoking
Well,
or something?
first
Like
of all,
yeah.
you've got to understand that this is a Fooly Cooley reference,
Oh
EliteAri,
my
because of
god.
the cigarette thing. You've seen it, and
Well,
I
yeah,
haven't, and even
there's
I know about
smoking
this
in Fully
reference.
Cooley, but like, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, in Fooly Cooley, isn't the big climax that the one character gives the other character a cigarette, and it has writing on it that says "Never knows best" or something?
Oh god,
Even
I
the
don't
normies
remember.
brought this up in
I
their
don't remember at
reaction.
all.
But this apparently is a big thing in Fooly Cooley where it's a very similar premise, so I think it's a reference of some sort. Fooly Cooley is very popular, of
Maybe.
course, so he's probably seen it. But the easy revenge thing is just remember what I said about how the devil's weakness, like devils only feed off fear, and if you aren't afraid of them, especially this one because it doesn't have eyes, you can just walk up there and kill it and put me to rest, and it's a nice callback to her trying to get him into smoking initially, and she held on to the one cigarette because it meant something to her or whatever. What are we confused about here?
Yeah, well, what is Easy Revenge in that context? I don't understand.
Well, you can get easier revenge by getting past the ghost devil by remembering what I said and killing it easy.
You
And
can
then
get
after
past
that,
the Ghost Devil by remembering what I said.
because
Wait, what?
he says that she had told him that like as long as you don't feel the ghost devil, it can't hurt you or whatever, it can't see you. And that's how he gets out of it. Because remember, he's gonna die.
So where does the cigarette come from?
It's from the first time she tries to get him to smoke, but then he's like, "I'm actually underage," and she's like, and so she asks
No.
for
I
it
know
back.
I know that, but how did he get it in the fight? Did he just have it?
Well, because her spirit still was in there or something, and it was like her last request thing.
Yeah, but
And
where
then
did the cigarette come from? Like, did the devil just have it with it, or?
well, yeah, she disappeared or something, so she spiritually went into the. It doesn't make
Wait, so
literal
the
sense,
cigarette is part of the
but she's got
spirit?
the fucking cigarette. Well, it's
Which
not gonna make
no,
literal sense.
I'm fine if it is. I just didn't understand. So the cigarette wasn't on Aki. It was
Yeah,
like spiritually with the like ghost devil or
yeah.
something. Okay. That makes more sense, I guess. Okay. I thought I don't know what I thought. I just didn't understand. Okay, I kind of get it.
I do think I was confused about that too the first time. I feel like I went back into reading it and was like, oh yeah, there's like a cigarette moment because that's another one of those like iconic Chainsaw Man things that people talk about all the time. Is the cigarette
the Fully Cooley reference.
handout scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously in the manga it looks way prettier when he's walking up, and then he cuts it and it bursts into all the flowers. Didn't do that in this shit ass motion cartoon.
Yeah, but when he was
Just a lot
walking
of
in that
blood
room in the
and
anime, it looks so cool.
cringe and Lamau. But yeah, so yeah, and I think I was in the same boat where I was like, whoa, revenge, something about cigarette. I remember not even caring about Himeno that much at all. By this time, I liked her a lot, so
Yep, I'm glad to hear it.
I think I was on the same page.
Well, next up, Denji fights Katana Man, or Samurai Sword.
Is pretty cool.
And this is where I wrote my rant about him being a goofy character, but we already talked about that. What is this? Oh, I wrote how the fight was lame in the anime. Yeah, they kick him in the balls. I think that was well done in the anime. Like, I think that's one thing where I felt it a lot when I was watching it in the anime, and I didn't feel it as much when I was reading it, I think.
It's funny, because I remember Miller specifically complaining about the anime before I'd even seen it about this scene and about how...
Oh, he didn't like the...
lame. Yes.
Interesting.
I thought it was way better
What
than
do you
mine.
What do you take from that scene?
just
Like,
sort of
how do
these
you feel
single
when
panel.
you? Yeah.
Well, this is actually one of the jokes. There's like two big Chainsaw Man jokes that are two of the most quoted ones that I don't like, and I think I just don't like them because I hate the people that think it's funny. So that's always good. The other one you haven't seen yet. Um, I don't think I like balls jokes. I think that's my problem, EliteAri.
Right. But you love the comedy in Chainsaw Man, right?
Yes, everything else is fantastic.
Right.
Him kicking Aki in the balls early was funny. I don't know. It's a neat little thing. Aki saying that like this is a requiem to Himeno is cute.
Yep.
Maybe I do like it now.
I'm glad I turned you around on it. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well.
I do like the Aki like falling to his knees, then getting back up and getting into it thing. I like that in a conflict.
Well, like I like how initially he's like, "This is stupid. Like, we're not going to do this. We're not going to torture this man or whatever. We just have to hand him in." But then he remembers.
Yeah.
It's like she would have liked this, you know.
It is another one of the times where Denji just does do something like pretty immoral, and he's still like unabashedly the person we root for, and it's kind of interesting in that regard. There are plenty of other examples of this, like him throwing the dude who was in the car and sort of saving him back at the Bat Devil.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
There's other ones too. I can't think of them. I can think of some, but they come from later.
Yeah.
Him usually enjoying the fight and cutting up the demons and stuff, I guess, is also kind of bad and not good. And then people do comment on that in the story, like, this is demonic, bro.
Yeah, violence is bad.
Yes. We read Vinland Saga.
Yeah, we've seen
we
the
don't
Violence
watch
Devil. Yeah.
Indeed. He wouldn't be that strong if violence wasn't bad, I think.
That's so true, Kyle. So, by the end of this fight, they have collected enough Gun Devil flesh for it to start moving towards something, and then Makima gives a very, like, knowing face, which I don't know if that's, like, it's interesting, it's done, well, the thing is, it's done in the anime, and it's done in the manga, but I don't know why they would make it so, I can understand in the anime why it would make it such a big deal on her face, but in the manga, it's like that as well, and I assume the next chapter just came out next week, so I don't know why it's like a, like zooming in on her face, that, like, she knows... Well, the thing is, what it makes it seem like is that she knows what it's heading towards or something. Like, she has knowledge of where the God Devil is already or something. Like, it's interesting that they focus on her face. It's like, oh, it's pointing toward Denji or something. It's like, oh, he's the Gun Devil or something, you know? Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like she has some knowledge about what the Gun Devil is, which I want to talk about in the theories, like, what is the Gun Devil?
Very interesting speculations.
Yeah, it's just interesting to have that face there. And I thought I stuck on it, and I'm like, what is this? What is she thinking right now? But maybe it just is like a building hype or something, and I'm just focusing on this nonsense like expression. But anyway,
there's a much more interesting face she makes in that classical scene that we will definitely talk about in every regard when we talk about your predictions with Kishibe. But
oh, we didn't talk about that at all. Yeah, I hope I have something on that. Yeah.
Well, it'll certainly come later. Yeah, if you don't want to do it now.
Yep. Well, I got two more notes here. They're very quick. So the one is that we're not going to say anything. The Denji door. He sees a door at the beginning of the anime and the beginning of the manga, and he sees a door here. And I don't know what it is.
They shoehorned it into the beginning of the anime, and I wasn't happy about it.
Was it not in the manga?
No, not at all.
Okay, interesting. For some reason I thought it was in the manga. No, I believe you. You're always right about these things somehow. I don't know why.
Initially, I was like, why the fuck would they put this at the beginning? Fucking hacks. Because I actually don't like the door stuff.
Hey, I don't want no comments on the door, right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this fucking
Kyle, you better not ruin this door for me. This door is the most interested mystery that I am in this entire thing.
I'm about to praise your shitty anime. You shut up, Ari. I'm not going to spoil. Right. But then I realized when I read the last chapter, and it was chapter 38, I was like, oh, because the door shit is at the end of 38, so it'll be a nice bookend. I was like, okay, shitty season 1. I see what you did.
The genius director made a beautiful choice. Wait, who do you attribute that to? The director or the higher ups?
Somebody. The noise and no shit.
So
when
the bad
door
things
showed back up at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
The anime onlys didn't notice the door at the beginning. They completely forgot the second it was off screen.
Well, I remember. Don't worry, Kyle. When I saw the door, I was like, it's here, it's in the opening, it's in the ending. I'm like, it's important. I don't know what it is.
It is in a lot of those endings.
Yeah.
Don't open it. We'll talk about this in a second.
Yes, but the last thing before talking about some other stuff, but spoilers. If you are just watching the anime, skip like 10 seconds because I'm going to spoil what happens in the manga right at the end, and it doesn't happen in the anime. It's just one panel. It's not really. You can probably listen. It really doesn't matter. But are you ready, Kyle? There's
I'm
Power.
ready.
Power has 4 horns instead of 2. Crazy. I don't know what it is. I got no idea. She's more powerful as well. Like she punches Denji and it's stronger. But it's I was flabbergasted. All right, when I saw it, I was like, this wasn't in the anime. How could they not include this? And instead they had some random woman walking in a city or something. But that was that.
They certainly did have a random woman. That might be the character I'm contentious about, but we'll meet us soon, EliteAri. We
didn't even get a teaser of her in the manga at all, which was interesting.
No, because it's not a fucking season ender with the hack fan service for this shitty character that everybody likes.
True, we hate fan service, right?
I hate fan service. I hate Chainsaw Man. I hate Miller the Killer, and I can't say her name.
You just love comedy, don't you? That's it.
Yes, that's it.
I'm glad to hear. All right, so let's make sure. We got Denji, we talked about. He lives a simple life with Pochita. He gets a new family. He feels empty, and he is immortal, which is that's something that's interesting. Like the fact that Kishibe brings up that he is just plain immortal, which is strange.
And
right?
also, the Katana dude who is similar also always talks about killing him, which doesn't seem to be possible. But
yeah. We'll talk about this in the theories. It's weird the fact that like you can kill some devils, but you can't others. I don't. It's a bit weird. I guess Denji's not a devil.
Denji's not a devil.
Yeah, but he has a devil in him. So I don't know why you couldn't just kill his heart and then he'd die.
And a man. What
He's
is the elite?
A devil man.
And a man?
Oh my god, no way. That's crazy. You think it's a reference? That's crazy. No.
You think Chainsaw Man is a reference to Devil Man? I don't think so.
No way. Okay, Denji, done. Aki, quiet, reserved, wants to kill the gun devil to avenge his old family. 2 years left to live. He's gonna die in the worst way possible. Which
the devil. What a crazy wacky bloke.
Yeah, I was so like watching the anime. He shows up. Well, I didn't know it was him, but this thing shows up in the opening every time. I'm like, when's he gonna come up? I want to see him. I want to see him in the anime.
I did like his scene in the anime. I did not have any issues with it.
Yeah, so. Good. Yep, that's Aki, and Aki cries for Himeno. Makima, manipulative.
He cries all the time, apparently.
Yeah, what a healthy thing, unlike Denji. Love it. But Makima is manipulative. She has the brainwashed swirly eyes. She has actually it's never confirmed, but she either has scary devil contracts, like really powerful ones, or she just straight up just has supernatural powers. Kishibe calls her a liar, and she claims that her goal is to save as many people from devils as possible, but she's probably lying about it. Or maybe not. I don't know. I think she's not, but Kishibe apparently does, and he is the goat, so I don't know. Power, the blood devil fiend, used to want to eat, used to want blood so she could eat it, and she just wants it, but now she realizes it's warm, and she likes people, and she likes having people around her. Cute. Himeno loves Aki. She's Denji's first friend. She puts on a confident act, but she isn't all that sure of herself. And there's that Aki, Himeno cigarette thing, but it's all clarified now. Then there's 2 more. There's Kobeni. She's got style, and she's got skills, and she is unconfident, and I love her. She's great.
All right, pedophile. All right.
And she's 20 years old. I love it. And Kishibe is...
Hold on, just quickly. It's so great that she's like, she had to become a devil hunter or a sex worker for her older brother to go to college.
Yeah.
Not her younger brother.
Or her 9 sisters or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but her older brother and her parents' pressure. It's just like a funny like iteration on parent pressure and having to do things for the family. It's just classic.
So relatable.
Maybe Kobeni isn't that bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kishibe, last character here. He is cool.
Oh, I also hate her in the anime, by the way. That voice, I want to kill myself.
Oh, watch the dub. She's great in the dub. Yeah, Kishibe is cool. He has... I don't know why you hate the dub so much. You've seen one scene out of context and you have a bias against dubs, but honestly, for everyone listening, don't be afraid of watching the Chainsaw Man dub. It's amazing. It's one of the best dubs. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen it through blind wave reactions and like scenes on TikTok and YouTube, but stuff I've seen is really good.
I'll probably have to do the same. with the blind wave reactions at some point.
Yeah, but it's an interesting dynamic
Maybe
because
next
Rick
time
has
I'll give
actually
an
read the
updated
manga,
one.
and the others haven't.
Oh
So
yeah?
so it's interesting
Like
to see.
classic Game of Thrones blind wave. My goodness.
True. Kishibe, cool. He has humanity's interest as his number one priority, apparently, according to him. And he's starting to care about Denji and power, and he says he is the strongest devil hunter, and I probably believe him. That's it. That's all the characters. I just wanted to make sure we talked about each one at least once. In case there's someone out there, they're like, oh, I didn't talk about my favorite character, you know? There we go. And we probably didn't. There's more than that, but those are the main ones.
Are we on to big mysteries and asking a
Don't worry, I
questions about the
have
future?
4 miscellaneous notes. I'll go through them very quickly. The first one.
Oh yes, I should look at mine. I probably do too.
Oh
You go
yes.
ahead.
My first one is that Kobeni looks really cool in her black suit. Like I think of all the designs, like the contrast of her being like this like naive like young girl wearing that suit, I think it looks the best. The Powers horns are a very cool like element of design. I think that's really cool. And when I finished reading the manga, I want to make a video about that. I think that's it's particularly interesting. Like it's something special. I don't know how to describe this, but her horns are very like notably good, like notably something really cool in a story. I don't know what to say. It's hard to express, which is why I want to make a video about it. But it's like when I see the horns, I'm like,
she
this is
does
amazing.
look remarkably great all the time. It is insane.
Yeah,
and I don't even think that's just like she looks pretty or hot. She just does look. Cool.
I don't know what to say. Yeah, it is.
Time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What a character design.
Indeed.
It's like Makima always looks hot. But power is a different thing. Now, I actually have a power monologue about that sort of fleshes that out, but spoilers, you know.
Okay, good. Yes. Last 2 miscellaneous notes. Kobeni appearing behind Sawatari is really sick. Like, you don't see her, and then Aki's like, stop, don't kill her, and she's like right there, and like, oh, this is cool.
Yes, that is cool. But Makima appearing behind the dudes on the train is cool.
That was scary. I like that. That was really cool. Final miscellaneous note. Kobeni leaping is really sick. I thought that was really cool, and we also talked about that. But that's it. Those are my miscellaneous notes. Yeah, a lot of I couldn't fit her into any of the story things, so I'm like, I'll talk with miscellaneous notes. But
I do have some.
Go ahead.
Denji never carves up a human. Aki doesn't either. Whenever they would fight just normal humans, they would always punch them out, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a censorship thing or just we don't want to. We're scared Denji will look too much evil if he chainsawed a human.
Yeah.
But they can kill zombies. They can carve through them. And I was trying to think, is there a single example of Denji in the whole manga? Now, I'm not going to say what conclusion I came to.
Of course.
But I'm not forgetting, chat. I'm not forgetting. Okay. Everybody's like, but that. And I'm like, yes.
Right. Okay, good. No spoilers.
I also have, I only realized this read through that Power only fights when she knows she will absolutely win. Somehow I missed that the first time, or
I didn't pick that up. Wait, so she runs away from the sword guy.
Yes, she doesn't jump in. She runs away from something else, I think. But she also has a line when she goes up to the zombies. They open up on the zombie floor, and she has a line to herself where she's like, "I can win this one." And then she starts like provoking them and being like, "Denji, you will watch me. I am beautiful. I am swift," or whatever.
Yep.
It's a great one. Power is a big fucking pussycat, is the point, and that might continue. I read this one. We already talked about this one. That one's about flow. We're going to avoid that one.
Yeah, good.
Incredible ideas. Full cooler reference. Floor level.
Level?
I was saying about how I'd seen that before.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
That one.
Isn't it genius? No, but isn't it genius how 8 sideways is infinity and it's the eternity level? Yeah, it's genius. Anyway.
Don't worry. Surge from the normies already talked about.
Oh, damn. I need to watch this reaction.
There's an interesting thing, and Miller actually hates this, and I'm unsure because I should like it. But I am unsure whether or not I do. Is that in the anime, there's a lot of swearing. In the manga, there's no swearing. I think it might be another bad Crunchyroll translation thing. Because I'm pretty sure Japan doesn't have swear words besides Bakuro or whatever the fuck. Because in wrestling, they just repeat that. And in wrestling, you're allowed to use English swear words because the Japanese just think they're funny.
Well, there's like ksa or something like that, which is like shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's derogatory.
Have, like, literal translation for fuck. I don't know anything about Japanese though. This is what I've inferred from Japanese wrestling, and sort of, because anime has always done this with bad subs. There's always like, I remember like the first ever subs I watched of Attack on Titan always had Eren swearing every second word,
Yeah.
and Levi too. But if you go back and watch like official subs, it never is. I don't know if it's just shoddy
Well, it's like that in the
translation
manga as
or-
well. Like the fan translations of like Levi John. Oh,
Yeah,
no spoilers,
true.
but stuff.
I feel like we already spoiled some Attack on Titan.
No,
here,
I've
but-
been keeping track. You're nothing too big.
And he was eating pie.
Yeah.
McGarth was talking. Yeah, sorry, maybe these are vague enough. Oh, and then the rest of them, I just have questions. Now, this isn't a document where I had a bunch of notes beforehand, but they're literally just notes, like me detailing recap of like the first 2 chapters. And I was like, man, I used to do painstaking notes like this, and it's fucking miserable. I learned my lesson with these Pokemon notes, where it's just like I'm on the writing stage of that big Pokemon video, and I'm not like all these notes are completely useless because they're just recap, and I'm just going to watch the episode as I'm writing the script anyway. EliteAri. Notes are bad and evil. Are we moving on to predictions?
We are up to predictions and Ari's theories.
So should we let you say? I'll just read my questions because I'm pretty sure you're already going to have answers for all of these in write-ups. I've got. I kind of envisioned this being me asking EliteAri a bunch of questions. Mysteries moving forwards. What's Makima's deal? Particularly with reference to the teacher scene. Why does everybody want Denji?
Whoa, wait, teacher scene? Wait. What do we got to break this down?
Well, that's with Kishibe, the scene.
Oh, okay. I thought you. Yeah, okay, I understand.
Right. I have Aki dead Lamau. Oh, because of his foreseen death.
Yeah,
what's
true.
that all about? What is a gun devil? How does Chainsaw Man end? I'm assuming.
Hey, I have that as well
in your write-up. So let's start with Makima because she's the coolest part of
Makima. Let me see what I've got.
Is she good? Is this a swerve where she's going to initially be bad, but then she's going to be won over by Denji or something, and they're actually going to fall in love? How are we going to resolve this, EliteAri?
Okay. Firstly, I have 4 things about Makima, just like evidence of stuff. Like I don't have I'll think of my theory at the end, like the cohesive thing. But so the first thing is that she says that Denji's condition has a few precedents. She says that in chapter 2, which is interesting. Like she's seen like half devil, half human people before, which is interesting.
The Katana Man does show up.
Yeah, which you wouldn't think she would know him because he only cares about Denji.
Probably doesn't know him,
grandpa
but
guy. Yeah.
We have seen evidence of other people like him.
Yeah, we have. It's just interesting that she knows about it. So chapter 6, there's an interesting line where it's like the Soviet warhawks are getting louder over the American matter. We're also hearing rumors that they're using devils for military purposes. We can only pray that the devils remain Japanese over the enemies. Yeah.
Yeah, massive point. You do understand that this takes place in the 90s, right, EliteAri?
I actually had I didn't write this. Let me see if I can get it up. I had a massive thing because at one point they show the calendar on Aki's flashback, and I was like, okay, yeah, they do, and they have the date that it currently is, and it's like a Wednesday or something, and you can go back and like type in Google like what was the date and like thing, and I went back and tried to figure it out.
It's cute when things have dates like that. Yeah.
Wait, so you think it's in the? Well, I mean, you'd know, but are you saying it's in the 90s? Is that what you said?
Yes. I'm considering this not a spoiler because everybody told the normies in the comments. So if they know, EliteAri now knows.
So the conclusion.
I actually didn't know for a long time, but if you look at all the technology, it makes sense. And obviously, the Soviet Union dies at the beginning of the 90s and becomes
in
Russia,
our world, yeah. Well, but there's like devils and stuff, so who knows how that happened? But
technology too. So it's kind of like it seems like it's the 90s.
So the conclusion I came to, I gave it. The possibilities were 1993, 94, 97, 98, 99, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. Those are the only possibilities based on the fact that the 30th is a Wednesday. So it has to be September, April, June, July. September, April, June, or November. Because there were only 30 days in the month or whatever. So I think I concluded, based on the fact that the manga comes out in 2018, that the closest candidate would be 2005. so that was the conclusion I came to. Because it was like 13 years earlier from the manga, and if you go 13 years from like 2018, you get 2005. So I was like, okay, that's probably the best bet. But then I did include, the Soviet Union is mentioned, and therefore it must be dissolved before the 1991 or whatever, so the options would be 1998.
26th of December 1991, I just googled it, but yes.
Is that when it's dissolved?
December,
or is that what the manga is? Okay. So then it would be either 1988 or 1983 were my two like conclusions. I would guess one of those, but
it might be 88.
I haven't looked this up at all, and I got no idea. This was based on some calendar at some point.
Yeah. In the anime, it's actually probably more obvious because you do see shots of TVs a few times and phones where they are looking very old.
Yeah, but you could chalk it up to like people being poor or whatever, right? Like not living in the best
Yeah.
conditions. That's what I assumed. But yeah, interesting. It is. I was interested. Like, when does this take place? It was an interesting thing.
But it's
Okay.
interesting because they're specifically talking about like America-Soviet Union tensions and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
So back
And
to
I think
Makima.
when
Yeah.
they talk about New York, is it the Twin Towers there, which would place it before
No.
2001? I think it's just one big building, huh? There's not two of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's clearly it's meant to, like, you're meant to think of the Twin Towers, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna think of a terrorist threat in America and not think of Twin Towers, but it's not like
In New
London.
York, and I'm pretty sure it is specified to be New York, right? Yeah.
I think it's maybe. I could go
Or
either
maybe
way.
we
I'm
just
not
think
certain.
city in America and we think New York or something.
It's either way. I
But
could
yeah.
go. I don't know. Okay. Yes. Back to Makima. So I have a question, which isn't. It's not. Don't answer this. It's not a question. But I said, does Makima actually have to eat? Because at one point she talks about getting a boxed meal at the station, and she says that she'll make
And that
room
she
for
would
eating at the
make
meeting.
room.
Yeah, and I was like, that. What a weird thing to include in the manga. Like it's not an
That could
unusual
be a
thing.
shit
Like, people
joke,
do that.
Or it could just be she's weird.
Yeah, it could be that she doesn't have to eat and she's just eating for the sake of, like.
But she also
appearances or
drinks
something.
way too much that
Yeah, like she doesn't
being
get
should be
drunk
able to
and
drink.
yeah. So there's something weird about her, clearly. Wait, let me have a drink of water. Oh.
My water ran out, Ari. I'm sad.
It's okay. I got plenty for both of us. Yeah. Then I also wrote, there's big holes in the chests of the people that shot her. So I don't know what that means. Like, if that was her, like, punching through them, or if she has like devils that she has contracts with or whatever. But weird. Now Makima. So I haven't. Thing is, I haven't actually written many cohesive things here, which is, I thought that'd be more fun to kind of think it through. But Makima is clearly like a bad person. I think, like, I don't know if she is like, if she thinks, like, I don't know if personally if what she thinks is doing the right thing or whatever. Like, I don't know if she's actually an evil person or if she's doing something and she's like, oh, I have to do what's best for the greater good or something. But what I think is that she will be the, like, main antagonist for Denji. And at one point, like, I think I sent this to you at one point, where my grand theory was that like, Denji's story is about how initially he doesn't have any meaning in life, and eventually he finds it, and he finds it through Makima, and I don't even. I've discounted that theory, so I don't know. But it was something about, like, where Makima is placed as the antagonist to Denji's meaning to life, because she's like the embodiment of the society that he's striving for or something. Like,
yeah,
it was a weird. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I stick with that still. But
for context, I did ask you like a few weeks ago before we even, I think, decided to do this, just because I knew you had just been watching the anime. Because me and Miller were having an argument, and I was like, well, let's ask Ari what he thinks of Makima at this point.
Yeah.
And that's how you gave that answer.
Yeah, it was a long-winded theory, including the Gun Devil and Denji and the themes of the story and everything. But and then I watched, like, the finale or something, and I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But I guess the only thing I can say about Makima is I feel like she's going to be a big antagonist, basically, and probably the main antagonist of the series is really what it feels like.
There is an escalation at the end of the stuff we've read of, like, her doing equally more immoral things, I guess. Firstly, with the eyes, and then, well, I guess the eyes are after depressing the people, or is it before? And she's always very unaffected by these sorts of things. And then there's an implication by the one dude that resigns that she might have known about this or set up the fucking shooting Lamau.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what he thinks.
Yep. So I have two theories
and then
about Makima.
We have the questioning with the teacher. So yeah.
So you ready for my two theories? These are solid things I'm going to say. Option 1, she is Denji's mum. The mum that is mentioned initially to be bleeding, coughing up blood or whatever, and we never see her again. And then at the end of that first chapter, we get the mother figure that Denji kind of clings to or whatever. So either she's his mum, or the other option is that she is, like, literally Satan itself or something, and she is like the embodiment, or where all these devils come from or something.
It really is Devilman.
I don't know anything about Devilman, so maybe, yeah. But so yeah, those are the two options where I'm like, okay, if I have to throw out, like, a wild theory, those are the two I'd probably go with Makima.
What devil do you think she has a contract with?
Well, I would assume she has a few contracts with devils. Like, she killed the people by, like, squishing them, so I would assume the what do you call it? What do you call it when you have that doll and you like put the thing in the doll or whatever?
Voodoo doll.
Yeah, she has some voodoo devil or something. I don't know, something like that.
There's also a bird motif with her.
Yeah, well, I don't know if motif, but like there have been birds, I guess. Would you really say it's a motif?
Because it's not a motif. Because whenever she would attack one of the people, there was always a bird nearby the person she would attack. So it seems like the bird is connected.
So you're saying it's the bird devil?
Yes, it is the crow devil.
Interesting.
Crows squish people.
The superstition devil. Maybe that would be it. People are afraid of. Oh, people are afraid of superstitions. I could be fun. I guess
we see general concept devils. We have seen the violence devil. That is a concept rather than like the sheep.
We've seen the curse devil, right?
The shark devil. Yeah.
I guess curses are things in some people's heads.
Yeah, that's sort of like a voodoo witch curse, more so than just violence as a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't everything just a concept at the end of the day, Ari?
There are truth. Probably there is water is water or whatever. Anyway, so I guess that's
the water devil is my most feared devil. All right. Actually,
I believe
that's
you.
not true. It would be open sea, scary Pokemon beneath you devil.
There is some name for that, right? Some fear.
Yeah, being lost out at sea or in deep water.
You should
do
like a virtual reality experience like that. I've done something like that. It is scarily.
I was playing Pokemon Snap and Lugia came out of that corner, out of the darkness ahead of me, and I nearly cried. And that was a G for everybody game.
Wow. All right, Makima done. You satisfied with my answers? Anything else about Makima? Like directly? There's a bunch. I'll probably bring her up again later.
Yeah, we really can't. Would you like to know? Should we like to know what I thought about at the time? Probably not. I guess I can just say that at the time I thought it was so obvious that we're setting up for her to be a bad guy that we would in the other direction. I was like,
interesting. Okay.
Probably. Yeah, and I was thinking more so like, well, maybe initially she's going to be the bad guy, but she's going to get like won over, and then
So you thought it would be a subversion?
Yeah, kinda.
Yep. Interesting.
The next question
tells me nothing.
Why does... Yes, good. Why does everybody want Denji, or do you want to go in a different direction?
So I think why everyone wants Denji. You mean like how Makima wants Denji, and at the same time the Gun Devil wants Denji, right?
Yes.
Well, my answer to that would be, I don't know is the first thing, but I actually have one note directly on that, which is the fact that maybe the Gun Devil. This completely contradicts everything I just said about Makima, by the way, so I don't think it's very cohesive, but maybe the Gun Devil is like the ultimate devil for some reason, what I thought Makima was in that previous theory. And on the other hand, Makima is the ultimate human, you know, like standing up for the government and being the like superior human or whatever. And Denji at some point will have to choose between killing the Gun Devil or killing the human, like the ultimate human. So Makima
I had a point about this
Gun Devil
in my old notes where I was like, Aki is like loves humans and hates devils. Power loves devils and hates humans, and Devilman Denji is in the middle. And I was like, it's like the trilogy thing. So you're kind of saying that, but Gun Devil and Makima are on the new side.
Well, and what were we just talking? Oh, why everyone wants Denji? So why everyone wants Denji in this case is that in relation to this, I have no idea. I don't even know why I brought this up now. Now I'm quite confused. I think really...
It seems to indicate
it's pretty...
Vegeta is special somehow.
Well, yeah, I think the real... Like, if I was to summarize it all, everyone wants the Chainsaw Devil, and I don't know why Makima wants it. Makima is just a mystery. Like, the things I said is either mum or the evil person, but... I think the Gun Devil is pretty obvious why they want Denji... why they want the... Yeah, devils feel fear. But I think the Gun Devil wants...
Denji particularly, or Pucci.
Well, he fears Pochita because Pochita was the one he was fighting when the 1.2 million people died, right? That's my theory. I don't know. Alright, so my Gun Devil theory is the fact that... essentially, to answer your question, why does, at least in this case, why does the Gun Devil want Denji? It's because... Oh, not Denji. Well, yeah, Denji because Pochita... is like his great antagonist or whatever. Like Pochita is the one who fought him and caused him all this pain, and he wants to get revenge on Pochita. That's what I think. Based on the fact that you always, like throughout the manga, you get a few not the anime, but throughout the manga, you get a few references to the Gun Devil, and they always talk about how it like passed through at like this alarming speed or whatever, and they don't say it's running. They don't say it's like jumping or something. And to me, it just seems like the author is trying to like skirt around saying what it was. And to me, it feels like he's doing that so that he can reveal that it was actually like a fight or something. And then I was thinking, oh, who would the Gun Devil fight? And I was like, oh, he wants Pochita, so maybe Pochita. But that's where my like. Well, that's the other thing. So let's talk about the Gun Devil more generally, I guess. What have I got? The Gun Devil.
But just quickly,
yeah.
The obviously the Pochita stuff has to tie in with this door stuff somehow. Why can't Denji open the door? So
yeah,
because Pochita's on the other side, so maybe that has something to do with all of this EliteAri.
So I think behind the door, actually, it's complicated. My best guess as to what's behind the door is like the evil side of Pochita or something. Where like Pochita he's hidden away all of his evil side, and Denji, if he opens the door, he'll unleash it, and then Pochita will be evil or whatever. That's what I think. But I honestly have no idea. I'm very interested to see what's behind the door because it's just such an interesting mystery. It is interesting that wait a minute. I've written here in my notes. No, I don't know if this makes. Maybe I've gotten something wrong here. I've wrote that Denji has had the dream since before he merged with Pochita.
He has. He always has this dream.
Since he was a kid or whatever. So I don't think. How does Pochita relate to it then? Denji has had the dream before Pochita. So I guess
Aaron was having all those dreams before he was a
Would
type.
It have to?
I guess that actually has an explanation. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. This door, I really don't know. I'm very interested. That's all I can say about the door. It is interesting how.
That scene.
Wait, which scene?
Where it's like, I always have this dream, but I forget it. It's so like mysterious and wispy almost. It's like
and it's like don't open it or whatever. I think it's really well built up. But the thing I was thinking is that in the opening of the anime, like I was trying to piece together, does the opening show us anything? They parallel the fridge, like in the house with the door. And the fridge even has the same like notes or whatever stuck to it. And I don't know if that's just like a couldn't eat, like, oh, we can parallel these two things because they look the same and they're not really. Or if there is like some, like the door has something to do with food or like some like how devils consume something, or like it's meant the anime is like just subtly trying to hint at something to do with like what devils consume. I don't know. I don't know. Neat fridge, it's a fridge. I don't know what it is. But like if we're thinking like more literally, what is it? Like to me it appears like a door, a back entrance to something, maybe like a kitchen or something. It's got like a eye hole to see through. It's got things stuck to it. I have no idea what's stuck to it. Like immediately when I see it, I think of like the Martin Luther, like whatever 72 things he stuck to that wall in the church.
Reformations, I believe.
Yeah, the Reformations, whatever. Yeah, I always think of that when I see stuff stuck on doors. But it's just weird because I don't know what the hell it is. Like it's, I really don't know.
We get to read more Chainsaw Man tonight. Can you believe it?
I'm very excited. I've been holding back for these many weeks since.
Even I'm probably going to read some stuff tonight after I spent all day on this fucking nonsense.
Yeah. So door, who knows what this door is, but I'm very interested to see what this door is.
We've still got the Aki question to answer, by the way.
What was the Aki question?
What's his awesome, terrifying, terrible death?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. We were talking about the Gun Devil. We never got through that.
Yeah, we were. I thought you were done.
No, Jesus Christ, am I not done with the Gun Devil? So, a few evidence things I'll blast through it. So, it first appeared in the US 13 years ago. Well, this, maybe you can correct me, because this could be like, I'm speculating the wrong direction so badly that it's going to ruin stuff, but, so, at one point they say it first appeared in the US 13 years ago. Now, they don't say if the 1.2 million incident happened 13 years ago, or if it happened after that or whatever, but I assumed it also happened like those 13 years ago, which means that at the time,
they say it all happened in like 5 minutes, right?
Well, yeah, but they don't say like, what they say is that 13 years ago, a Gun Devil appeared. And then they say later, oh, a terrorist attack happened. They don't say, like, was it in that same year? Was it, like, much later the terrorist attack happened? Like,
and the Gun Devil attack happened the same day. That was the point.
well, yeah, that's true, but we don't know how far apart from the first appearance was of the Gun Devil. We just know that the attack happened on that day. Like, we don't know when the Gun Devil appeared. I mean, sorry, we know when the Gun Devil appeared. We don't know when the attack was, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I would assume it's those 13 years. Like, it's nothing really to change that, but... That my big theory here is that if it was 13 years ago, then Denji was 3 years old at the time. So initially I thought, okay, so the first scene we see of Pochita, he's been shot. So clearly he's had some interaction with the Gun Devil. And he's bleeding and dying or whatever. So I thought, okay, so he ran away from the Gun Devil or something, and now he wants to make a contract.
You sure he wasn't just bit or something?
No, it was bullets. I would be, I mean, yeah, maybe he was, of course, it was maybe bullets. Yeah, but he got shot a few times. Well... Yeah, he could have got bitten, but I think he got shot. I'm very confident in that. We can...
I'll be honest, I don't remember. So...
well, that kind of tells me that he wasn't shot, all right? I think you just confirmed that for me. Which kind of...
I actually... Never mind, I can't say anything.
Well, now that makes me assume that you don't know, because maybe later on it was actually shot. Yeah, you're telling me things by not telling me things, you know. I'm piecing things together here.
I just gave you hints in both directions, and you
No, you didn't. You gave me a hint in one direction, and then you backtracked because it changed something. So I think I have a better idea of what this what's going on here, but I'm not sure. Okay, so let's just assume that the Denji, I mean, Pochita got shot 3 times, whatever, a few times, and Denji was 3 years old. Doesn't make sense. We also get that Aki has been a devil hunter for 3 years, because he is 3 years. Essentially, this time stuff doesn't make sense. Like, why did Aki wait like 10 years to become a thing? Like, maybe you have to grow up and become an adult or something. But I don't know. It's you
probably can't
strange.
Work for the government at 16. I guess I don't know. But Denji doesn't have any human rights, so he can.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then the Gun Devil fell off the face of the earth, and to this day it hasn't been seen since. And from that, I would assume because he got in that fight with Pochita, he I also don't know.
Reverted into a small form like him.
Yeah, well, I think he got injured somehow, and he's so gravely injured that he had to go into hiding. That's what I think happened with the Gun Devil. But why he was fighting Pochita, no idea. Was it Pochita? Like, is Pochita actually strong, or is the Gun Devil really weak? I got no idea. I assume they're just maybe they were fighting like a dog and a little dog and a little honestly, it could be a little cat or something, and someone threw them really far, and it was actually the thing that threw them that's really strong. And then that's what killed everyone.
And Makima threw him. What the
maybe, yeah, crazy. But yeah, I don't know. What else have I got? Yeah, go ahead. I'm just rambling.
Did you when you saw all the countries, were you like, "Where's Australia?" Did he go up Australia? Yep. And then he wasn't, and then there wasn't anything. And I was like, there was something recent. Oh, Devilman Crybaby has a shot of the Opera House in one of the big destruction scenes where the world's ending.
Wild.
That was great.
I saw something with the Opera House recently. Something.
Yeah,
anime. I don't know.
Like there's other anime things. It's on the tip of my
Anyway, so...
Oh, also, just in context for the Australia thing, if this is set in the early 90s, then Australia still did have guns, so it doesn't even make sense that Australia didn't have no guns, so they weren't scared of guns, so the Gun Devil didn't attack.
Yeah, well, we've only got a very small population, that's our thing, right?
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Hawaii got hit or something, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's the US. That's the US, all right? But that leads into my next point, which is, how did the Gun Devil... like cross countries? Like, does it fly? Does it walk on water? Does it just like jump really far? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, because they do say it's like very fast, right? And that's how like fragments.
Yeah, that's how they fall off. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like it shot a gun or something.
That was a spoiler, so.
No, it's like fragments fall off
and
they're collecting it. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know if maybe none of these will be explained, but it's tantalizing.
That one fish one did have one, so maybe he did fall off in the ocean and he was just running over it or something.
That's true. And my next note relates to fish.
Like?
Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry, we have with things on that. But my next note is that this all seems fishy. Is the Gun Devil actually a thing? Like, does the Gun Devil actually exist, or is there some like conspiracy going on here where it's like I don't know what it is, but these like Gun Devil pieces aren't actually related to a Gun Devil, and people and like Makima is claiming that they're Gun Devil pieces, but they're not really, and there actually is no Gun Devil because no one's ever seen it. And it's just like, I don't know, like I have no idea. Like, it just makes me suspicious as like the Gun Devil is a weird thing, like a weird thing to make such a big deal of this early in the story and have no idea of what it is, what it wants. Like, it's strange. That's all I can say, I guess, there. But what else is there other Gun Devil? Oh, I guess this also feeds into like why I thought the Gun Devil was fighting Pochita, is that in chapter 18, the Eternity Devil is like, so you were alive after all, Chainsaw. You were far weaker than you once were. So I was like, oh, he was fighting the Gun Devil, you know? All that happened.
And he doesn't call it Pochita, which seems to be a Denji name, perhaps. Just calls it
maybe,
Chainsaw.
Yeah, I thought I didn't pick. Yeah, when I first heard it in the anime, that was a cool line where they called him Chainsaw. Like, oh, I watched Chainsaw. I'm like, oh, Chainsaw. Oh my god, that's crazy. What is Chainsaw?
That moment is always cool in things where it's like he's using a different name for the thing we know.
Yeah,
there has to be another story where like the main character is like, maybe it is just Naruto and he's like the nine-tailed fox and it's inside Naruto, but they're not talking about Naruto. He's like the fox is in there or something. The villain figures it out. I feel like Orochimaru must have a moment like that. It's fucking sick, bro.
Interesting. One day I'll get there.
We gotta do Naruto. Let's do it.
Oh boy, yeah, like the normies. All right.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. All right, so this is just a random question. So there's a gun and there's a chainsaw. One is used for chopping trees, or chopping stuff, I guess, mainly trees. And the other is used for like a bunch of stuff, like hunting animals. You could use it as like as a police officer to like enforce things. You could use it in war. Like I wonder if there will be some, by the end of this arc, if there will be some thematic like or symbolism or something between these two things that I just can't piece together what it is. Yeah, I think that's where I'll leave that.
What do you think? Hold on, I guess I should wait until you're done with the Gun Devil stuff.
I've only got 2 points. One is the fact that the Gun Devil gives guns in exchange for money, like a small amount of money. A suspiciously like small amount of money, which is like similar to the price of like a gun license in America or whatever. I don't know if that's like a meta commentary or something, but it's interesting. And I don't know why it wants money. And they at one point they theorize like, oh, maybe devils also need money and where they come from.
Yeah, because he says like maybe devils aren't so different from us. So it's like, are we going with the devils are people too thingy? Is that a thematic thing we're gonna get at eventually?
Oh, absolutely, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's like the core. I think that's definitely gonna be a thing. If it doesn't, I'll be surprised. I have a note on like what are devils and something else we'll talk about. Devils are weird. Kyle, devils are very weird. I don't know if Chainsaw Man is just bad or if devils are like intentionally weird. So we'll see. But what is the Gun Devil, Kyle? What does it look like? It's being built up.
Well, let me tell you a thing or two about the Gun Devil.
Yeah, tell me its gender, its size. Is it a monster? Is it a whatever? So
let me tell you about size.
Firstly, I think the important thing is that, I mean, not important, but it really feels like they're building up the Gun Devil for a subversion. Now, I don't know if it'll be a subversion in terms of like, in terms of what it represents or like what it actually is or something. Like I don't know if it'll be a thematic.
With a big mouth.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it'll be a thematic subversion or like I don't know, like a plot subversion or something. But the thing is, it could be a woman, it could be a child, it could be a stereotypical like Uncle Sam, like like a president of the US kind of like
American
thing.
With a belt
exactly.
And a cowboy.
Yeah. It could be like some stereotypical American thing. It could be something really cute like Pochita. It could be like a cute little like what I said, like a cat or something, like a cute little animal. I don't know. That's honestly the most likely thing is what I'm thinking, like some cute little thing. It could literally just be a gun, like how the Bat Devil was just a big bat. Like it could just be like a little
big weapon. That has to be
that's what I mean.
By somebody?
Yeah, it could just be a big weapon is what I'm picturing. That's another possibility. And then another possibility is that the Gun Devil is actually dead and someone else is using the reputation of the Gun Devil. Like they have its corpse already and that's like why the things are being attracted.
Kettle? What the fuck?
Iron Fist? Oh, yes. Kyle, you're a genius. Anyway, yes. You really like confused me there for a second. I understand. Genius. That's it.
That is exactly what you meant, right?
Yes.
Kind of,
it is. It's perfect. It is exactly what I meant. You've shocked me. But yeah, the last point is why is it such a big deal? Which is interesting. Like the Gun Devil. It's not like the Death Devil or something or some like big like
Oh, this is
like
perfect. This is
thing. It's
exactly
like
what I was gonna ask, EliteAri. I was gonna
what?
say, what do you think the biggest baddest devil is? What's the biggest fear in the world?
Well, well, maybe loneliness or something.
That's actually
I
funny, but
honestly
like
haven't
if you
thought of
Google
this.
biggest fear, it's like dark or like heights or something.
Well, they're
Um,
superficial fears.
but yes, loneliness could be a funny thematic one where it's
I
like
feel like that's the
being without
most.
Puchita is the biggest fear in the world. And the biggest, strongest devil even look like? Is it just like a cloud that you can't touch and it just zaps you with a darkness or something? Or is it like a big monster? All things you'll find out,
What
EliteAri.
of the ones we've seen? What do you think is the scariest looking devil so far?
The ones we've seen.
Yeah, I had this debate with like the people I watched it with live, but like for me, it's like to me it's the leech devil. Just because there's like two different types of fear.
an
Like
ugly,
in
huh?
that fight, there's the bat devil and there's the leech devil, and they're like two different like opposing views of like scary things. Where one is like in like what are the words for it? There's like one is like a Lovecraftian horror, which is like the leech devil. It's like this thing where if you saw it in the darkness, it's so big and like otherworldly that it's like terrifying. And the other one, the bat devil,
Then
is
it
like
speaks
a
and it's goofy and funny and just wants to
yeah,
revenge
it
its
is.
boyfriend.
Yeah, but if you just saw
That's
it
a
in like a
Chainsaw
dark alley at
Manism.
night or something, like I think the leech devil would be the scariest thing to see, just because it is like an otherworldly, like scary, terrifying thing. But then the bat devil is like an exaggerated like beast, like a real life like fear. It's interesting. I don't
I
know.
don't know if I don't know if I think any of them that have shown up thus far are that scary per
But what if
se.
you saw them at night in the street? That's what I care about. Like
Well, yeah, if I'm in
in
real
our
life,
world.
they're all gonna kill me or something. Actually, I'll beat the fuck out of all of them.
True.
Uh,
Yeah,
the ghost one's kind of cute.
it
The
is.
snake,
Yeah,
I
how
don't like
cute.
snakes, but like big snakes.
It's a
Now I
hand
seen
snake.
Harry Potter. It ain't that scary.
Spider devil's not that scary, even though I like hate spiders. But
Yeah,
it's like
well,
kind of
it's
cute,
a
you
little
know?
human.
Yeah.
And I ain't scared of no spiders. Spiders don't even fly. Now cockroaches, that's a scary
No, I
fucking
love
devil.
cockroaches. They're great.
Yeah, come
Anyway.
live in my house, all right? We got 50,000 of them everywhere.
Yeah.
There really isn't. I don't even know if, in general, if Chainsaw Man devils are that scary. They're usually like clever or cute or
Yeah.
cool.
Mm.
But I get what you mean.
Anyway,
It's funny because I just googled like biggest fears and it was like fear of failure, fear of loneliness, fear of rejection.
loneliness.
Like,
hell yeah. All right.
well, this is
Well,
like
what
a
is
fucking.
like?
This
What do
isn't
you
a monster
think?
that we can make.
What do you, maybe you know the answer if they like talk about it. Like, what is the I can't let you answer. I can't even let you say if you can answer or not because that tells me if there's an answer. Jesus. Because if you say, there's two scenarios. Either you say, I don't know, and then you can tell me the answer, or you tell me that you do know, and that I don't know. It's strange.
It's how I would fuck with you to make you think certain things.
Yeah.
And if you could see through me trying to make you think certain things and be like, oh, well, obviously, if that's your motivation, then it has to mean that this is the answer. I understand, Ari.
Anyway.
There's going to be some crazy fucking devils that are really cool and really strong later on.
Good. Anyway.
And we're going to see one of them before we talk next time. I'm so excited. Ari. It's the best part of the manga.
We'll see. Okay.
How do you like astronauts, Ari? How do you like astronauts?
The astronaut devil? Is that a thing? I don't know why that would be.
That's a tease. Everybody's like, right. Don't spoil it. But it's so out of context that you don't got no fucking ideas. When the astronauts show up, Ari, you're going to know that shit is about to fucking happen.
So you're saying the aliens are coming? Is that what you're saying? The devils are all aliens?
I'm sure. I'm a bit scared of these fucking aliens. If the alien devil shows up, I would be a little scared. But
all right, we'll see. Why don't we? Let me make sure there's nothing else to talk about. Oh, Denji's mum is a thing. They said that she coughed up blood, and now Denji's doing the same thing, or was. He hasn't done it since he like merged with Pochita, but he was beforehand.
Yeah, well,
which
is
a very
healing stuff now. He can't be sick.
Obviously, she will. Like this has to be coming back at some point. Maybe you haven't even seen it yet.
Right? That's what they say at the beginning.
Well, they say she's dead. Like, how do we know if she's dead? So we don't know for sure. Yeah, of course, she's Makima.
Wait, his mum is Makima, like you said.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
She's coming back.
So we'll see.
She never left. What the fuck?
The other thing is the fact that Makima, at least superficially, doesn't seem to recognize Pochita. Like initially, when she like runs into Denji at that warehouse, she's like, "Oh, what a strange scent." It's not like she's like, "Oh, I know this scent" or something. Or like I recognize the chainsaw devil. It's interesting that she doesn't recognize it. I don't know what that means, but yeah. But there's a few more things, but the last biggest section of like theorizing is about devils and just how they make no sense whatsoever, and it just makes me think that it's all a dream or something. Because that's the thing. It's either the logic of these devils that just don't matter at all, and like Fujimoto doesn't really care at all, and it just is nonsense, or it is all cohesive and it is actually implying that it is all a dream, or not all a dream, but there's like something going on with these devils that they're not what they seem, you know.
Well, what's the problem, Ari?
I don't know. They're like, we don't know anything about them. When did they appear? Why did they appear? What are they? Like, why do they have names when they're born? There's like, why are they inherently called devils? Like, who names them devils? Like, why do they?
Do they literally come from hell? Is kind of what you're asking.
Not necessarily.
Well, that would be where they would get their names, right? Because
no, they could get the names from.
Well, I guess hell only has one devil,
really.
huh?
Yeah.
Maybe it has other demons.
And maybe devil is like a mistranslation or something.
They do call them demons.
I think the Japanese word it's a contentious thing.
Akima, what is it?
Akuma.
They say it all the time.
Akuma. Yeah. It depends. There's other words for it as well. I don't know what they use in Chainsaw Man. I haven't looked at it. But anyway,
there is a fleshing out of how this all works later.
I'm very interested because like there's my biggest question, unrelated to the whole "is this a dream" thing, is just what is the difference between a devil and a human? Because to me, it appears there is no difference whatsoever. Like the only difference is the superficial ones. Like they're stronger generally. It seems like they can heal.
They're big fucking monsters.
Not always. Pochita was small. The muscle devil was small, even though it was hiding its like true form or whatever. But it can be small.
Well, Pochita might be hiding its true form too.
Well, they might all be.
Maybe he's a big monster.
But they don't. It doesn't seem like they inherently have to be big. Like size doesn't seem like a important thing. Like the future devil wasn't that big. It's big, but it's not like giant. Yeah. So they're stronger. They're better healing. They can heal with blood, but they don't necessarily need blood to survive. And they just have more variation in how they appear compared to humans. But they're not inherently evil or anything. Like for example, Pochita, even if he is hiding some darkness, he's able to hide that darkness. Like he's not evil. Power, which is basically a devil,
blood fiend.
No, but she's what do you call a fiend? Like taking over a corpse. So it is a devil, and it's not. Power's not evil, certainly. The angel devil doesn't appear evil. Like apparently, what we've heard is that they don't care. I was gonna say she, but he doesn't care about humans. Basically, like they're not hateful. So why are they considered evil? Like it just makes no sense. I guess because the fact that most of them are evil, but like I don't know. It's just, to me, it seems that at some point we have to confront this: the fact that these devils are not inherently evil. It's the actions that they perform that are evil. Like you are a devil, just because of the fact that it's born needing to have blood, or not even needing, just wanting to consume blood, doesn't make it inherently evil. I don't think. Like just like how humans, how we inherently need to eat things. It doesn't make us evil because we choose to eat animals, or it would if we chose to. I guess. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? How it's like the need for them to consume blood doesn't make them evil, and that's the only thing that really differentiates them from us. Like they don't inherently want to kill humans, as far as I can tell. Like because like Pochita and Power and the Angel Devil or whatever, blah blah blah, they don't want to kill them. Like they enjoy being around them, as far as I can tell. So it's like it's weird. Like you don't blame something for what it is brought up as. I don't know.
It does seem, because we do have devils that are concepts, like the violence devil. So it does seem like, and they seem to be born out of human fear. So it does seem to be some sort of berserk situation where devils are sort of born out of human fear, literally.
Yeah, but what you're born out of makes no difference. It's your actions that matter, right? Like, do we consider the blood devil evil? Like, I don't know. Maybe at some point it was, but it's not anymore.
Well, I guess not evil, because it seems like power.
Like, should power have less rights than a human? Like, should a devil should be morally inferior to a human? And why? Like, I don't understand why you would. Like, there's no
question.
Well, I just don't see it. Like, to me, there is no good answer, because the fact that there is no difference. Like, just, I don't know. I wonder if the anime will tackle this at some point. Yeah.
Never mind.
Let's say they're literally born wanting to consume blood of humans.
What if
Like,
they're born literally to consume humans, not just blood of humans?
well,
They could fight that urge, right, in your model, and if they did,
well,
then
they
they would
have
be
fought that
okay.
urge. Well, yeah, I guess that's what I would say. Um, if they were, yeah, it's
But it
interesting. I
isn't
guess I
just
haven't seen
human
anything
blood,
to
because that
suggest that,
one
which is
dude was
interesting.
eating his pet bird.
Yeah, I mean, Denji eats the blood of other devils. Like, they just think it's disgusting, right? Like,
Yeah.
they just have a desire for humans. Just like how humans can just have, like, they can be vegetarian, right?
And it,
Um,
and Power's whole introduction is kind of funny because she is sort of this tropey devil of like grovel humans, I'll kill you all and eat you
yeah,
and whatever, but it's like funny and endearing. Um,
yep.
so yeah, I don't
Interesting.
know. We will get some more devil discoveries in the future,
I
Ari.
hope so.
And I think some of the things you talked about might be highlighted and what do you call
Good.
that? Answered?
Explained.
I don't know. Explained is probably what I was looking for.
Yes. So more on devils. More about the naming of devils. They say that all devils are born with a name. The more that the name is feared, the more powerful the devil itself. Which is interesting in that it implies that you can have multiple of the same devil. Like it doesn't say that everything in existence has a devil. It's not like there has to be like a download button devil or something. Like it just implies that every time a devil is born, it's given a name. So, for instance, we could have another chainsaw devil come in. Like, there's nothing stopping that, as far as we can tell in the rules that have been established so far. There could be 50 chainsaw devils all around the world. Maybe they'll never interact. Like, who knows? Um, so, yeah, I thought that was interesting about their names,
Do you
and also
think
the
they
fact that they're
come from
devils.
somewhere? Do you think they're just all like on Earth?
That's another thing. How are they born? Like, did they just appear in society? How does a new devil get created? Where does it come from? Like, does it just spawn into existence?
I
Does it
think in some
get born
ways you're
into
taking it
someone?
way
Like,
too literally, and in some
yeah.
ways you're not. It's
Excellent.
funny. It's interesting. But yeah, you'll see.
Like, can a devil have sex with another devil? Let's say it's same class. Like, can two chainsaw devils have sex? You know, like, what is? How do they reproduce? Like, if
Do
they,
you
I mean,
think?
if it's weird, none of it makes sense.
Do you
Which is
think the concept of a devil implies that hell exists?
no, not at all. Like the fact that
Okay.
it's just a word. Devil is a word. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's a being.
Uh, oh, the devil. Yeah, no, I get. Yeah, the devil is
Yeah.
a being, but the word devil is just devil. Or akuma, or whatever in Japanese. Um, I don't think it implies any, like, what would hell even be? Like, another dimension or something. Have you? Oh, I don't want to spoil it.
What was it
Let me
about?
just say, something of this story reminds me of The Promised Neverland. It's interesting. Um, there is a striking similarity between devils here and some stuff in that show. Um, which I don't even know which came first.
I think I might have went in with a lot of Devilman assumptions.
Well, I don't know
And it
anything
might
about
have helped me
Devilman,
through
so
some of these questions. Yeah.
but I am very interested. Um,
I think by the time we
yeah.
talk, you'll have an answer to a lot of these
I'm
questions, and
very
it'll be
glad. Kai,
interesting.
I love these questions. And I hope it all gets revealed it's a dream. If it is revealed that it's a dream, it will be the greatest story I've ever read in my life, Kyle. All right.
And I don't know where you're
Um,
getting the dream
just
from.
because of the fact that there's like nothing is explained. Like we hardly get anything about these devils. They just seem to come out of nowhere. They have these weird names that, like, why do they have names? Like, there can be other explanations, but to me it would be so, like, it would all make sense if this was like Denji's false reality and he is actually like living some other life, you know? And this is like his way of coping with like stress or something. I don't know. Um, I've
I
always wanted
think
a story to do something like that, and I wish it did. But I don't actually think it's gonna happen. It doesn't make there'd be more foreshadowing, you know, like there'd be stuff you could notice, but it's
it's
just my foolish
interesting
hope.
because this is sort of something I've talked about with Attack on Titan sometimes, where I was like, I think I'm not even when I start Attack on Titan, I'm not even supposed to think like there's going to be an explanation for the walls and Titans. I'm just
Sure,
supposed to
yeah.
accept things. I'm not going to say which one it is for Chainsaw Man, but it is interesting because I don't even know if I was asking these questions. I think I just assumed the answers.
Right. No, I mean,
But
I
I just,
love asking these questions and things, especially the fact that I know that Chainsaw Man is good according to people. It makes me want to question these things. I don't know if I would in another manga if it didn't have such a
okay,
reputation. Um. Anyway,
well,
devils. What are we saying? They're
can't say.
born. They just exist. They want blood. They make a point that a fiend's head has a distinct shape, which makes sense. Like Powell's got the horns. We see a
Shark
few
dude has a
things.
fucking shark face. The
Yeah,
one that Denji decapitates has weird teeth.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah,
even
yeah.
was he? What fiend was he?
Like
I don't
scissors or
remember.
something. I don't know. It was weird. Um, and there was that foot
Like a
devil in the Eternity Devil.
beetle
That
thing.
was strange. Um,
Yes.
but
But he wasn't a fiend.
according, Power is a liar, and she just wants to boost her ego. But according to Power, since she used to be a powerful devil before, other devils flee from her scent, which would be an interesting like. So it's a weird thing for a devil to be afraid of another devil, even though it can make perfect sense. It's interesting. Again, what separates them from humans if a devil itself can be afraid of another devil, you know? Anyway. One other subtle like thing they mention is that devil powers are undone when they die. What does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
Like, how could that come into
That's a
like?
rule
What
to
if the
establish.
what if the angel devil touches someone and takes their life, and then the angel devil dies? Like, what power is undone there? Like, I mean, I'm sure they don't mean that, but they probably just meant in the case of the Eternity Devil, we are trapped or whatever. But it could be taken literally to something like that, and that'd be fun to see. But I don't know. Then I question like, what's the moral? Is there a moral justification for exterminating devils? And I don't know if there is. Like, if you can reason with them, then shouldn't you reason with them? Shouldn't the default assumption to be that we can try and like reach out to these devils before just trying to immediately exterminate them? You know, because clearly there are cases where you can like reason with them. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I don't know. Another interesting devil thing is the fact there's a lot here, but another interesting devil thing is the fact that devils they feel a sense of kinship with other devils, where in the first chapter, for instance, the zombie devil, as soon as they have Denji come back and he realizes that Denji is like a devil now, or a whatever he thinks he is, he's like, oh, so you're a devil now, you should be on my side. Yeah. And it's interesting that they think they should have a default camaraderie, just like how other humans think that humans should have camaraderie with them. It's like a strange divide there. And the fact that like, this is probably just a joke, but the fact that the Bat Devil's girlfriend is the Leech Devil or whatever, it's cool, but it's like, I wonder if that means anything. And also she says that she'll spare Denji because he has a cute face, which is like, come on, how's that evil? You know, she's willing to spare someone. Like, these devils aren't evil inherently.
She wants to kill Meowie. That's no good.
Yeah, it's just a cat. You know, people eat cats in our world. You know, it's crazy. Anything can happen. So
Not my cat.
True, not mine either. So, oh yeah, my last question about devils was like, how long have they existed for? Like, for all of human history? Like, why have we not got a, like, you know, in Attack on Titan where you get like a history book or something? Like, why is there no history book chapter that we've gotten so far?
107 years ago, the devils appeared.
Yeah, like we should get. I really hope we get something like that. Or he gets revealed as all a dream or something. That'd be cool too. But that's everything about devils. I had a lot of thoughts. I thought they were really interesting. Anything about that? I have a very few minor things left.
Well, I can't really say nothing about none of that.
Okay, good. Okay. We mentioned this before, but how does Chainsaw Man end?
But you said Denji and Makima.
Yeah, Denji and Makima, but also I was thinking like more the like, what happens to the world of Chainsaw Man? Like, there's currently devils there. Do devils like stop existing? Is that like how we end it? And I don't think so. Like, I'm leaning more towards like, there's something in this like devil human thing. Like, there's really no difference between them, and I think that the ending has to have something with that. Or maybe that'll be more of a mini arc thing. I don't know, but yeah, Makima seems like the ultimate ending baddie, but we'll see. Okay, 2 more notes in this theory section. I just swallowed a hair. Wait a minute. Ugh.
How long have we been going, by the way?
2 hours and 53 minutes. We're
Okay,
almost done.
Like 3 hours.
All right, so who will the angel devil touch is what I'm thinking, because they obviously brought up that the angel devil, if you touch them, so clearly they have to touch someone. And my 4 options here are that, or 3 options really, I'll discount one of them. Makima, because that would be interesting. I wonder what would happen if the angel devil touched Makima, you know. Kishibe, because I feel like he is built up as like this unbeatable like devil hunter, and maybe the angel devil will touch him and kill him, and that will be the death of him. Could be interesting.
These fucking master teacher dudes, they always be dying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think Kishibe's making it that far. It's I guess that's a trope thing. Maybe it'll subvert the trope in a funny way. make it a comedy. Anyway, so the last person the angel devil could touch is the gun devil itself, and maybe that would be interesting to see if anything happens there. And that's it. And the final question is about spoilers, everyone, for the one thing that's in the manga and not in the anime. So skip forward like 20 seconds, but what happened with Power? Like why does she have horns and why is she stronger? I have literally no idea, Kyle. Like nothing changed. Like Denji had a dream. It's not like she ate like a piece of the gun devil and got stronger or anything. Unless I don't like, the only thing is that people, like, she is the blood fiend, or used to be the blood devil, so people must have been more afraid of blood now. But why? Like, I don't know why. That's it. Every theory I have.
Find out next time, bro.
Absolutely.
You'll probably find out in like 15 minutes when you read that chapter. Crazy.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
So Miller said 70 exactly, right? Is when we're going to?
Indeed, we are reading until chapter 70.
I'm bringing up chapter 70 right now to see if it is the one I'm thinking of.
Don't you say a thing, all right? I don't want to know anything.
So My God. I haven't got it up yet.
That's when it's revealed that
Denji's fucking dead, bro.
The Makima is
he died
mom,
20 times.
Crazy. No, he's immortal. He'll be there till the end. Wonder if he'll change protagonists at some point. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? And astronauts are coming.
What is
apparently.
part 2? You know that exists.
Yeah, that's a great question. I didn't even think of that until now. Why the hell is there a part 2? Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
Could just be like arc 2, like the story continues.
No, it feels like, I mean, I have no idea, but it feels like part 2 is like going to be the conclusion. So it feels like there's some, like, it'll end with a like giant cliffhanger worthy of making it arc 2. I don't know. It could be like a season 4 of Attack on Titan thing, where it's like a big shift in like the entire point of the story. Maybe, I have no idea. Maybe the Gun Devil is like part 1, and then like some other thing is part 2. Maybe that could be a thing. Anyway, I have theorized too long. Okay, I'm glad. I can't wait. I mean, I can wait. I am waiting, but I won't when we're done. Chapter 70. If you're watching along with us, reading along with us, Jesus Christ, wait.
So we got 2 whole arcs we're gonna read, Ari. Aren't you excited?
Yep, I am. And that's it.
Wait,
anything else you want to talk about?
32 chapters. Fascinating.
Just like this one, 38.
We'll record like tomorrow or sometime, because we'll be finished.
True.
The beginning of this is going to be awful. Miller's going to watch it, and we're going to have like 13 paragraphs. It's just going to be about me being annoying.
No, it's going to be me just not understanding you. That's what it's going to be.
No,
like obviously you're saying this, Ari.
I was talking about this Leia shit, and he hates it.
I never brought up the Leia thing. Yeah, I did some, because I was like, oh, irony and stuff, and I looked into irony a bit to try and understand that a bit better.
Oh my God, you know I'm using all these words wrong, right?
You are when it comes to layers of irony, in terms of there's...
Well, yeah, you really can't have more than like 2.
Well, you can have like a few, yeah.
Well, there's like the...
I was like thinking about like... Well, I haven't seen the... I know I watched like part of that iDubbbz video, but it is interesting how... Like I looked up how do you determine irony without authorial intent? And I thought that was an interesting thing. Because like obviously you don't put much value in authorial intent until you do. But assuming you don't, then it's feels impossible to determine if something is ironic. But then when you go and look, like I read this like random like research paper from like the 90s or something, but they talked about how well, I don't know, should we end the video? Is this worthy? I don't know if we should talk about this.
Fuck it, we're going.
Okay, well, they talked about how the only like you can, in the absence of authorial intent, you can have irony based on context, which makes perfect sense, right? Like you can determine authorial intent. Well, you don't even need it, but like the thing is, like they have this example where it's like, if you say the sentence, oh, the Johnsons have a beautiful lawn. If you just read that sentence with no context, no authorial intent, whatever, it's impossible to determine if it's ironic or not, right?
If the lawn looks like shit, then it's funny.
Exactly. If it looks bad, then the context, you can determine that it's based on, it is ironic. I just thought that was really interesting. And there's a few things like that. And there's like relationships between irony and metaphor, and I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff. It was a very interesting read. So essentially I'm calling you a hypocrite, for trying to determine irony based on a context that doesn't exist. and discounting of the real intent. But that's a discussion for 2 hours ago, and everyone's listening. Anyway, that's
Ari,
it.
I've never had to piss more in my life, I must say.
See you later, everyone. See you next time, whatever that is.
We'll be back
a week,
chapter
a month,
70
a day.
we're reading to.
Yeah.
Are we going to be back next week from when this is uploaded? That's probably achievable.
Yeah, let's do it. See you later,
You
everyone.
got to upload a video before then.
Oh, that's true.
I talked over.
Hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. Bye.